Welcome to Newcastle Motorsports Park for Kart Chasers live main event coverage of the SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals. My name's Xander Clemens, alongside me, Rob Howden. We're going to get set here to go green with the Micro Swift class in just a moment, and then we've got a few of our X30 seniors from the pre-finals to chat with here. The Micro Swift class presented by Team Bennett, kicked off here by Jackson Gibson. He'll start on the inside of row number 1 alongside Alexander Procuna.
It'll be Matthew Kegel alongside Antonio Pazogna-Nito on row number 2. Field setting up. It's time to go racing, folks. Outside line looks pretty quick. Whether or not we go green, are they there? We are. Green, 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 and racing into turn number 1. The inside line getting aggressive, coming across the curbing. I think a couple drivers dropping further back. The outside line had a pretty good run down in there. They had sped stuff up pretty quickly. 4 drivers on the breakaway the first time down to turn number 5. Xander, a little bit of a crazy start here for drivers in Micro.
Yeah, a little bit wild on the first couple corners, but at least they've made it through safely. Alexander Procuna to the green corner here, leading the way. Right behind him again, there's single file and a 4-driver break, about 2 car lengths back to find the rest of the pack. Trailing the end of this opening group here looks to be Royce Vega, maybe, with a good start there from the 6th position, but we'll get a better idea when they come by the start-finish line for the very first time. In fact, Vega's now gone to 3rd. He's gone by on what looks to be the Tony kart of A.J. Stoner. From 8th on the grid for A.J. Stoner. A great start here for the AMAX Racing entry as they head towards the Scale Tower corner. First time Procuna leads.
Yeah, let's have a look. I have a feeling that the drivers on the outside line, maybe I got a big jump there, and that's where Stoner was. He was back in the 4th row. We'll see whether or not the outside guys look at Gibson falling all the way back to 5th position right now. So potentially the drivers on the outside getting a better run down into turn number 1 is essentially 2 and 3 in this particular layout. Nonetheless, Procuna with the lead by just a little bit right now over Pazogna-Nito. Then it's Royce Vega in 3rd, A.J. Stoner 4th, Jackson Gibson rounding out the top 5. But a bit of a breakaway right now up front as a little bit of a break in terms of the opening circuit.
Yeah, a little bit of a break there. There's a midfield group led by Parker Ives. Well, they start to sort themselves out here on lap number 2. Let's give you a chance to hear from your X30 Pro pre-final runner-up, Ryan Norberg. A solid run, P2, through the field and avoided the chaos. He's down with Jenna.
Thanks, Xander. Ryan, if your worst race of the weekend is starting from P8 and getting a penalty, can you complain that much?
Yeah, I mean, it was still a good race for us. We had a lot of speed, but yeah, the penalty was a bit of a brain fart. I don't know what I was doing, but I pulled into 7th position and not 8th like I was supposed to. And then last minute, I switched back over to 8th, so I had all 4 tires out of line. So yeah, 10-second penalty, but it's not too bad. I mean, we have speed, and Hayden was quick, and all the RPG guys are in the top 3, so I'm just happy with that.
Can you talk to me a little bit about how much draft matters at this track?
Well, it's a lot, and that's what kind of hurt us in qualifying is I didn't have a tow. But yeah, on that last lap, I mean, I went from like consistent 8s to a 5 just because I got a tow on both straightaways. So yeah, when you're out front, you're kind of a sitting duck, but it's all right when it's your teammate, because you don't have to worry too much.
Yeah, we had an RPG 1-2-3, which looks great for you as the coach and even better for the team. Thanks, Ryan. Good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Xander, a couple interesting things there. Obviously, the first and foremost, you and I talked about how great this draft is, and we were waiting for Norbert to get into the tow, and he talked about the fact the tow down both from 1 down to 3, 3 down to 5, worth 0.3 of a second. But then a penalty. What's going on here with this penalty? A 10-second penalty going to drop him down. He's going to have to do this all over again, starting deeper in the field and working his way forward.
Yeah, that's massive. I mean, that's a big hit there, obviously, for him. Luckily, again, he's got so many points to burn. Even if today's a drop, it's still not that big of a deal. But and for him, too, right, having 7 seconds from 3rd on back, that's a saving grace there. Because had that been a normal X30 race, he'd start about mid-20s. He's only probably going to start 10th or 12th or so, and he's already come from 8th on the grid as we've got some drivers off. We've also got our pre-final winner, Hayden Jones, down waiting alongside.
I'm here with Hayden Jones. Hayden, your momentum is on fire this weekend. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really good. Obviously, RPG 1-2-3. So I know I have a little bit of a cushion, but I'm still like one of the fastest, so I know I'm good.
Yeah, you gapped the field pretty well, and then your coach, Ryan Norberg, started to catch up. Did you know Ryan was behind you?
I didn't know who it was, but I knew it was one of my teammates. But I still started pushing a little harder at the end just so I wouldn't get caught.
What do you expect the final to look like now?
I mean, we pulled away a lot, so hopefully it looks like that again. but I'm really not sure.
Well, sounds good and good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you, and back to the booth, guys.
Xander, once they get a chance to sit down and go debrief, they're going to realize the way the kind of the race kind of developed, some of the racing that happened further back. But for Hayden Jones, he's going to have that confidence rolling in, realizing the kind of speed he has. And to hear that he had a little bit waiting, he had some extra that he pulled, just running out there 95%, always that little bit more to get, even when you're getting chased. That's going to be a momentum thing and a confidence thing going into the main.
Yeah, it was smart. Again, very smart by Hayden Jones. And while we talk about it where it was his first SKUSA Pro Tour pole and he's only got, one full X30 national win. I mean, he's got a lot of times in racing and GoPro Motorplex, that super strong club of being in that position where you want to kind of tire save a little bit because you're the leader. So he's been the leader quite a bit throughout his career. And, of course, on the national stage now, it looks like he's well prepared for it compared to some other drivers that come from smaller regions of the country. To see a change for the lead. They've been shuffling through all these interviews here, so we've kind of just kept a close eye but a loose eye on the top four. Now it is Procuna back to the top spot over Royce Vega.
Yeah, it's Procuna, Vega. We got Jackson Gibson and Troy Ferguson in there. Ferguson just went by, I believe, to take over the third spot, and Jackson Gibson back into fourth. But that is the breakaway right now. They have a full second on Antonio Pizzonia Neto. He runs in the fifth spot. AJ Stoner in sixth, but the fast lap of the race last time by. Got to look at the guy down in seventh position right now. He's not that far back, to be honest. A 1:13.423. Rocco Simone went purple last time by.
Yeah, Rocco Simone with the purple lap. I mean, he was obviously substantially quicker than the rest of the field. I mean, he was over a second faster than him. Now, this time by, it'll kind of close up a little bit, and Simone made some passes, so he lost that advantage. But he's leading the second pack, and if they do this some more, well, that'll make an opportunity for him to get up and battle for the lead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, able to get his way to the front of the pack, went by Pizzonia on that last lap. So he goes to the lead group. Now he knows how much gap he has, 1.3 back to Troy Ferguson. But these guys are battling like crazy right now. Procuna, Vega, Gibson, and Ferguson. Look at this. We're going to go 2 by 2 coming through turn number 5 right now. This is exactly what Simone wants. We're super early into what will be 16-lap races for our cadet drivers. We're only at lap number 5, 14 laps still to go, and they're battling it out like this is the last lap here. So this is going to give an opportunity for a driver like Simone to work his way in here.
Yeah, great opportunity here for Rocco Simone to close that gap on up here to the top 4. He's now coming into the picture just a little bit. 10 laps to go this time by. 6 laps complete only so far. So we're, again, still not at the halfway point as you've talked about, Rob. And with Vega leading them, again, without a teammate behind him, you can't imagine Gibson's going to work with him. Gibson sees Ferguson, so he's got to maybe be smart when he tries to go by, but they're all coming together. See Parker Ives dropping a tire there out of turn number 12.
You can see that next group, though, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, trying to close back up. Yeah, 6th and 7th, Ives and Neto both turning their, or Pizzonia rather, Neto rather, working his way up to the point where they're 6th and 7th. They were actually significantly quicker than the leaders by 7/10. We've seen so much back and forth with the leaders doing what they're doing. Look, there's Simone behind them there, but not that far back is Ives and Pizzonia Neto. So we've got an opportunity to have 6th and 7th right up there in the scrap as well. And there's one driver who's got contact has gone off. That's the 43, Troy Ferguson, your point leader. The point leader has gone off in turn number 5, looping it around, trying to get that car back out onto the racetrack to keep going. And he is having trouble getting it out there. Troy Ferguson, who came into the weekend as the point leader in this micro category. This is going to shake things up in a big way, Xander. Again, Rocco Simone, Troy Ferguson probably, they were tied for the lead. So both he and Simone, this is going to give advantage over to Simone right now, who's pushing forward.
Yeah, and Troy Ferguson, you can see how quickly he was hopping over to the go-kart. He's trying to at least get going, but I don't think I don't know if they're going to let him continue. It looks like they will, so they've got him back fired up. Unfortunately, the leaders are already working their way around the final couple of corners. He's got no shot of really making up anything besides when a red flag could come out or if anyone else drops out of this race. At this point here, Ferguson is on damage control and praying that Rocco Simone has a bad race as well or a drop that Ferguson can burn, because this will no doubt be his worst result, I believe, of the series so far.
We'll go look deeper into that as the race goes on here, but indeed, big one there. And knocks us down to just 3 drivers in the lead group, make it 4 with Simone. So Rocco Simone's closed up to the tail of that group, has actually worked his way by 3rd when he came through the line. Another purple lap for him, a 1:13.406. So there's Simone running now in that 3rd spot. Royce Vega in the fight there. Jackson Gibson, I believe, potentially to the lead right now. Well, we got ourselves a pretty good fight. Vega, Gibson, Simone, and Procuna last time by.
Yeah, great little battle here that we've got with them, and it looked like more were coming with Rocco Simone when he started to arrive on the scene. Antonio Pizzognanito, Parker Ives. I mean, Ives was on Procunia's bumper, and then they kind of got to battling, and that's allowed the group to go back down to 4 cars once again. So Jackson Gibson leading the way here. 8 laps to go, 8 laps complete. Cross flags in the air. Jackson Gibson looking for a first career SKUSA Pro Tour win.
And a little further back, up 10 spots, Drew Waltz to the tail of that next group, the chase group. You'll see them coming through there. There's Drew Waltz at the tail of that in the number 19 machine. He started 17th. He's up into 7th. He's right there with Ives and Pizzognanito. So if they continue to battle up front, you never know. All 3 of those drivers could find themselves into the fight because behind Waltz, it's 3.5 seconds to Nicholas Orbezo. So really, we've essentially got 7 drivers left in this thing in terms of where they are pace-wise. It will all depend on how much the drivers up front decide to race. If they stay lined up for the next, let's say, 5, 6, 7 laps and then battle it out over the final couple of circuits, well, then maybe Ives, Pizzognanito, and Waltz don't have a chance. But if we get more of what we've seen for the first half, where they're going side by side, maybe too wide, there's going to be an opportunity for those guys to work their way forward.
Well, the good news, bad news here, looking through the points so far, Troy Ferguson has a pretty solid season to this point. If you count everything, 310 points at round 1, 285 round 2, 250 round 3, 270 at round 4. That poor round at round 3 at Utah on Saturday, he still finished 4th overall and was 4th or 5th in the pre-final. So he can burn today as the drop day, but Rocco Simone has also been just as good. 250, 275, 275, 310, almost identical, and obviously how they got to the point where they ended up tied. And with Rocco Simone having a great day today, it really means that he could even have a bad day tomorrow if his day is good enough today. It's really all going to be on Troy Ferguson tomorrow to try and get maximum points if he wants a shot at Rocco Simone for the title. Again, we're speaking too soon, though, obviously. Still 6.5 laps to go. We've seen already multiple drivers, Ingrata, Weldon, they come to mind, where it looked like they were set for a top 2 result, and by the end of the time the race was over with the checkered flag dropping, they were much further down the order.
You know, I'll tell you this, Xander, is looks like Simone going to the lead now over in turn number 10. Indeed, he's put the Parolin down to the bottom, so move Rocco Simone to P1 as he gets by Jackson Gibson. It's fun for me to call Rocco Simone because when I first started in the sport back in 1994, 95, 96, I called the races of a cadet kid named Anthony Simone, who is Rocco's dad. So I've had a chance to call a lot of the races. Obviously, this family, Anthony Simone was a fantastic young karter through Ontario and did a lot of racing. Won WK Manufacturers Cup races back in the day in the late mid to late 90s, and then of course went on to do a lot of stock car racing as well. But great to see that family here and see Rocco up front. It's very cool for me to kind of bookend a family's worth of action. But we're seeing it happen here right now. Head down there for Simone. They're trying to pull away as well, trying to make it a 3-driver battle up front to see if they can't drop Royce Vega off the tail of that train.
Well, that would have been the smart thing to do, but ultimately, Jackson Gibson, he wants the lead. He's hungry here today. Took Procuna with him. They both went by Simone that time, and that'll bring Vega right back into it. Now, we've talked about that chase group last time by. They lost over a second. They've been battling a little bit themselves, and overall, the pace just hasn't been there consistently. Parker Ives, Drew Waltz, Antonio Pizzognanito, all 3 of them, unfortunately, are not making up any headway. So even though they're shuffling here, they're doing it kind of in a leapfrog fashion, really only on the very long straightaways, something you're used to seeing in the types of racing like Formula Ford, F1600, where rather than pushing, they'll just kind of pass each other on the super long straightaways and not make over-aggressive passes where you lose a lot of time.
That's exactly it. That's the way you do it in Formula Ford racing. F1600, like you said, get the big draft, make the move, tuck back in. Not a lot of passes on the maybe more sweeping corners. What we're seeing, though, like you said, is 2 packs that are racing together in similar fashion. If 5th, 6th, and 7th were lined up and just seriously just pushing as a train, it may be different. Up front, these guys, every corner, are throwing it down at the end of these long straightaways. Again, Simone back to the lead here right now. Procuna up into second. They're going to go side by side again. So Vega and Gibson figuring out where to place themselves. And really, so much is going on right now. It's not like you can even get a good gauge of where you need to be. They're passing all over the place. Everybody wants to be in second because that's going to be the place to make that final pass. But, man, no one's able to hold that spot for too long.
No, and even then, I mean, a lot of the times they're passing for the lead, and we've talked about it already today. I've been harping on it for quite some time that when you see a pack battling like this with still so many laps to go and that continues and they don't ever calm down, eventually someone either gets fed up with it or someone does make a mistake. It's kind of like, juggling, right? I mean, you can juggle 2 balls with 2 hands. That's easy. You start throwing more and more, and all of a sudden you got 8 bowling pins you're juggling. Eventually you're going to drop one, and then they all come crashing down. And that's what we see time and time again when these packs get big and they keep shuffling lap after lap after lap. They can be perfect for 1 lap, have a great 3-wide battle for 1 lap. To do it for 16 is almost impossible on these road courses.
4 different drivers in here, 4 different situations championship-wise, 4 different sets of expectations and goals on the weekend. So everybody's scrapping for something a little bit different. You know, a kid like Simone right now, although he probably has no idea that Ferguson's out of the race, is battling there for a championship where some of these other guys aren't in that position. So they're kind of settling back in a little bit. So, again, that's why this battle is so intriguing up front right now with Procuna right in there. He's probably the driver who's not really thinking about it because he's nowhere near. I don't think he's in the top 10 for Alexander Procuna. So he's back at 21st. He just wants to win this race. He's not thinking championship at all. So, if anything, that may play to him as the other guys are going to be thinking maybe about holding on to a championship point or 2.
Well, here they go as they go 2 by 2 out of the cell tower corner. At least we're getting down to what should be crunch time. 3 laps to go, this time by Procuna. Now the current leader, headed towards the short chute into the scale tower corner, turn number 12. It's Procuna over Gibson. Then, I believe, Simone all the way back in the 4th spot as here's that second group playing chase. So Drew Waltz has gone around Parker Ives. So it's Waltz, then Ives, then Pizzonia Nito. They are still 4.5 seconds back from the top 4 with 3 laps to go. Not much of a chance of getting there, again, without a major wreck up front. And they passed again in turn number 3 just at the edge of that shot.
Great run so far for Drew Waltz, who started back in 17th up into 5th position. That's a solid drive forward. But here is the lead group right now. We are down to just 3 laps remaining. It'll be 2 to go next time by. There is, again, 5th, 6th, and 7th. There's your lead group. Rolling their way up through 6 over to 7. They've been going back and forth. Everybody taking some time up front. Royce Vega, remember, was close in danger of potentially getting dropped off the tail of that lead. Now further back, that might be Simone, I think, back a little further. You know, that's Rocco Simone in the 91. He's in the tail of it right now, where Procuna's in 3rd. And now I believe that's Jackson Gibson in the RPG number 11 as your leader.
Yeah, Jackson Gibson. This time by, we'll see 2 to go, be the first of the 4 to see it. Royce Vega, right there in 2nd, looking for a way past. Procuna not going to do anything in the final 2 corners. Across the line, 2 more trips around Newcastle Motorsports Park. That's almost 3 full minutes. And there goes Gibson to the bottom. Vega with a big run to the outside. To the inside to follow will be Procuna. Simone's just kind of trailing back and forth. Maybe he realized now that Ferguson's nowhere near, and at this point he's just going to watch. But I don't know. I don't want to call that too early.
Yeah, that would be interesting whether or not somebody let him know that. He's going to dive down to the bottom of Procuna, coming down now into turn number 5 to try to get through there. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold it coming out of the corner or not.
Looks like he did.
He did, yeah, indeed. Procuna not able to get the forward bite out of the corner, so move Simone now back up into 3rd. But for a while there, it was looking like he was just kind of watching what was happening coming through 2 and 3.
Yeah, here they come on into the cell tower corner. Royce Vega, the leader, with a lap and a half to go. Still could be anyone's game here in this one. Alexander Procuna getting run wide for a moment, trying to fight tough for that 3rd position. Cost himself some time as a whole versus had he let Simone go and tuck right behind him. Now look at this. Into turn number 12. Contact for the lead. Gibson not able to get by.
Wow, that was some aggressive side-by-side contact coming down into turn number 12 through 13 and 14. White flag flying this time by. Royce Vega does come in 3rd place in points, but over 200 markers behind the tie between Troy Ferguson and Rocco Simone, so not really in the fight. It's more of a 2-driver battle, but this scrap up front, there's a big bump there coming into the corner as Royce Vega had parked it down to the bottom of the apex. Jackson Gibson getting on them. Here they come now. Everybody lining up as we work our way down to 5.
Simone now with the run and the tow. Gets to the inside. Gibson goes deep around the outside. Unfortunately runs out of racetrack. He drops back to 3rd. Procuna can't follow. Goes to 4th. Simone's 2nd. And Vega leaves the door wide open in the green corner. Simone and Gibson are through now to 1st and 2nd.
So the driver with the point lead now gets back to P1. Rocco Simone, the young driver for Parolin USA. He's got Jackson Gibson right behind him. He'll run midline coming through the cell tower corner of turn 10. He's got the position so far. Further back, Procuna going to the inside of Royce Vega. They'll have contact. Both those drivers together, almost together coming out of the corner. Short shoot down to 12 and 13. Simone's going to go to the bottom. Do we get the over-under here? Moving here for Jackson Gibson. Trying to get the over-under coming through side by side. Oh, the contact! Oh! Coming back onto the racetrack, and they'll roll their way through, and Simone gets the win.
Wow, Jackson Gibson was parallel to our camera lens with the top side of his helmet, ends up in the grass, crosses the line third, heads up driving by Alexander Procuna to kind of keep his head up and get second across the line, and we'll see. Again, Simone blocked the bottom. Gibson threw it around the outside lane, and they came together. And look at this. More drivers that were coming across the line there at the end of that one. I'm trying to see who was the one that also went off. That might have been Colton Schneegenberg in the 17 on the final lap. He crosses the line 14th. Either him or one more that went way, way wide on the very last circuit. And I don't know which one dropped all the way down. Could have been... really could have been anyone. I mean, there were so many guys going up and down all the way through that main event. Let's take you through your top 10 at least here. Rocco Simone, the unofficial winner. Alexander Procuna second. Jackson Gibson third. Royce Vega fourth. Drew Walt still up 12 spots. A solid, respectable drive to the top 5. Then Ives, Nito, Matthew Cagle, Marco Samet, Mateus Romalho. 16 spots gained to get to the top 10.
Yeah, fantastic drive for Mateus Romalho to go up to from 26th to 10th. But Simone took that lead over, and the last half of that lap was a lot of fun. Ran the inside, kind of a mid-line coming through turn number 10. Obviously, the action further back with Royce Vega and Procuna. They were going at it coming through 11 and 12. But to be honest, Simone ran the inside line down into 12, and it looked to me like Gibson had a great over-under, was trying to run the outside coming out of turn number 13. Almost made it stick, but maybe a little bit of light contact potentially. That's what you saw. It threw Jackson Gibson up in the air, up onto two wheels. Came back on in the grass, straight back across to be able to get P3. Great car control for Jackson Gibson. Actually almost nipped Procuna at the line as well, but Simone ends up with the win by just under 0.2 of a second. The point leader coming away with the victory on track. Great job for Rocco Simone, Alexander Procuna, and Jackson Gibson unofficially. The podium lineup when we go to Victory Lane celebrations later on today. I'll tell you one thing, that was the first main event at 8. I might need a nap a little later on, man. That was exciting.
Yeah, man, they are wearing us out today up in the booth. Obviously, it's been clean racing, it's been dry racing, but as a whole, it has been fantastic racing here from New Castle Motorsports Park. And we've got a lot more, as you said, the first of 8 main events here to come. And guess what? Everyone's been, kind of dogging on the 100cc guys when they go run the X30, because the X30 Juniors, when Jenna gave her report, was like, I don't know, I think the X30 race is going to look like a KA race. Well, guess what's next? KA Junior coming your way here, Rob. I don't even know where we start to predict that one.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, so let's see how good it's going to be. There's going to be some great racing for the rest of the day.
No doubt here. 40-plus drivers, KA 100 Junior coming up next. Rob Houghton, myself, Xander Clements. You're watching Kart Chasers coverage of the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. We'll be right back.
Praga and Formula K chassis brands, Leading Edge Motorsports is a high-performance kart shop and race team with a simple mission: teach others the joy of high-performance driving, supply our customers with the highest quality products and services, and most of all, win races. With our remarkable racing inventory, expert services, and top-ranked national-level team to back it up, we'll help to get your new kart racing package up and running fast. From arrive and drive service to kart preparation and driver coaching, to the parts you need to get you back on the racetrack, Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer.
Hannah Greenemeyer is going to score the final win of the U.S. Pro Kart Series. Hayden Jones is a national race winner. Nate Cicero wins.
4-time champion Ryan Norberg winning Super Nationals 24.
Winner.
Are you ready to join one of North America's winningest driver development programs? Rollison Performance Group offers fully customizable packages that are meant to take your game to the next level. For more information, head to rollisonperformancegroup.com.
Welcome back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park. Nash Motorsports KA100 Junior has been released onto the racetrack. A championship fight with a lot of drivers in contention coming into this weekend. And already what was a very action-packed pre-final should line up for another good one here in the main event. Caleb Gaffera enters this weekend before drop, 50 points up on Jesus Vasquez Jr. Steven Eisert about another 40 to 50 back. Charlie Smith and Oscar Iliff all in contention in the top 5, and Cooper Shipman also with an outside shot at it. There are 41 drivers in total. Let's take you through the starting lineup here, beginning with the 871 Nitro Kart OTK of Spencer Conrad. I believe we'll start alongside Valentino Garbarino because there was a lot of official intervention at the end of the last one.
Yeah, there was a few penalties that came down for contact in that pre-final. That'll put Oscar Iliff on the inside of row number 2 alongside Jesus Vasquez Jr. in 3rd and 4th.
Alex Mercado will start to the inside of row number 3 alongside Cameron Brinkman, the winner of the X30 Junior pre-final, and Aiden Ingrata, Steven Eisert, row 4.
Dropping up the top 10, Stephen Miller and Cooper Shipman, Caleb Gaffera all the way back in 16th. Field set, coming to the green to get ready to go here for KA100 Junior. Green, green, green. And they'll race their way down into turn number 2 and 3. One driver backwards further deeper into the field coming into the corner. We'll pick that up later. They'll work their way out of here down to turn number 5 for the first time. Everybody blocking down to the bottom of the racetrack. Couple drivers will try to run the outside to see if they can't beat him over to turn number 6. Up front, lining up as we expect, a little 2-driver breakaway right now. Conrad and Garbarino going right at it as well. Vasquez, I believe, up into the 3rd spot. More contact mid-corner, and there's one of the LN kart drivers, has lost the nose cone.
I don't know, man. That could be either one of the Weldon brothers, Oliver or Sebastian, or it could be Brinkman, but I think Brinkman's good. You see him there in the 5th spot. Valentino Garbarino leading over Spencer Conrad and Jesus Vasquez Jr. Oscar Iliff is in 4th. Trying to see who we've got in the 6th position. That might be Mercado. Either way, through turn number 12, pass for the 4th position. Brinkman moves up a spot. Iliff drops back. And across the line, Valentino Garbarino leads his first laps of a SKUSA Pro Tour.
Yeah, great start there for Garbarino. Both he and Conrad taking full advantage of the front row starting spot, and that is key. Get out front. You know you get aggressive on the opening lap, but if you do settle yourself down, especially if you're new to running up front or maybe it's your first front row start, all you need to do is get out clean, right? Get out in that first group, get some clean air, get that first couple of laps in, and you're fighting for a top 10 at the very least, right? You're going to be going for likely race wins and podiums. The key is not to make that mistake on the opening circuit.
Yeah, you have to be so smart here. Obviously, everyone knows that you can gain a lot of spots early, but you can lose just as many because the field's packed together, so it goes both ways. We're still seeing some more passing going on inside the grouping. Garbarino continues to show the way. Brinkman 2nd. Vasquez Jr. is 3rd. Headed through the cell tower hairpin here this time. Fernando Luque was the driver on the move. He's 6 spots up from 12th on the grid. Now all the way up, make it 8 spots gain. He's into 4th as Spencer Conrad has fallen to the edge of the top 5.
Wow, Luque dropping the hammer early. Obviously, the car coming out of the gate strong and was able to get it away from some of the chaos, but really has dialed things in earlier. You wonder sometimes when the car is that good coming out of the gate, did they go a little higher? The tire pressure, try to get him into a good position for the start of this race, get out of the chaos, because right now, looking really strong right now up there in 4th. Here goes Brinkman. He's going to go to the lead, and he is going to bring all 3 of them with him. Brinkman's going to bring Vasquez Jr. and Luque through. Garbarino goes back to P4.
Here they come into the scoreboard hairpin. Cameron Brinkman, Jesus Vasquez Jr., Luque. Look at them all bottlenecking. Kind of the accordion effect under the braking zone just tightens them up so much. When you get a pack that big, even when you stay single file, if a guy is at least halfway close behind you, he'll gain so much because you have to brake so much earlier than your normal marker, kind of giving room for the guys in front of you to brake, and then they have to wait on the guy in front as well. So it just allows these packs to really stack up when you have corners like turn number 4, the scoreboard hairpin, where that braking zone is astronomically long here going this direction.
Yeah, look what's happened as a result, right? Top 4 who had some room, make it 5, and literally it's pan out a bit, and 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th are right there. Everybody's right on top of each other in terms of this lead group here in KA100. Good opening couple of laps, though, Xander. I'm not going to say it's been too crazy or anything. We've had guys with elbows up a little bit. Why not? It's the opening lap of, a SuperKarts USA Pro Tour race. You're trying to win here. But for all intents and purposes, most drivers settling in. We've got the guys up front that we kind of expected. We'll keep an eye on a guy like Gaffera trying to work his way back forward after starting 16th with a 10-second penalty. But otherwise, everybody working pretty good up front.
Here they go, all the way down to the scoreboard hairpin once again for third. Garbarino going by on Brinkman. That'll change the third spot, move Brinkman back to the fourth position. Luque seems content for the moment to follow Vasquez Jr., and then further back, more shuffling. I believe that might have been Cooper Shipman and Alex Mercado, but I'm not 100% on that one. It looks like, indeed, Shipman into the top 5 for the first time here in the main. 5 spots gained for the Iron Rock Motorsports Tony Kart.
Speaking of Iron Rock Motorsports, Elio Mesa now up in the 9th, up 6 spots. Purple lap last time by, 109.288. Significantly quicker, over 7/10 faster than the leader last time by. So look out for Mesa coming up here. But we do know the guys are racing pretty hard up front as well. But there are some very quick guys further back, Mesa being one of them. What does he do here on this next lap? Does he get a spot? How about 2 of them, Xander? Elio Mesa already up into 7th position, now right on the bumper of Alex Mercado as well. So Mesa definitely a driver to watch.
Here they come on through turn number 3. Mesa going to pick up another one. Great call, great shot right there. Elio Mesa moves up into the 6th spot ahead of Alex Mercado. Behind him there, Mercado will follow, and Spencer Conrad's on defense mode from, is that Caleb Gaffera? Yeah, wow, he's already up another spot looking for P8.
Just went purple last time by. Gaffera started 16th into 10th when they came across the stripe, battling for 8th position. As Xander said, a 108.805. He was a half a second faster than Jesus Vasquez Jr. your last time by. So there are some rockets coming up through the field right now. Guys with their heads down, coming back after some of the issues. Xander, you mentioned a very surprising kind of grid for us to look at when we knew that Cameron Brinkman had won the pre-final. A number of penalties coming down from all the contact we had. That's really shaking things up and giving us more drivers to watch for coming from deeper in the field.
Jesus Vasquez Jr. dropped a tire in the dirt that time coming through turn number 12. That's going to stack them up here through 13 all the way through turn number 1. And now they're nose to tail, single file. Fernando Luque being a loyal soldier still pushing him. Now he's going to go for the lead. Luque down the inside with Garbarino and Cooper Shipman trying to go for third. He will not fully get clear. Actually, he'll end up on the outside. Got alongside Garbarino. Now Garbarino for the lead. Blocking the bottom. Luque's high. 2 by 2, nearly 3 wide through turn number 4.
Yeah, Cooper Shipman, that was like when you're watching a NASCAR race at Talladega and somebody dives down to the inside thinking you're going to make the pass and nobody comes with them and everybody streams by. He pulled out to the inside, probably the best move he could have made, but then just got streamed as everybody kind of pulled in the back. So Cooper Shipman will press the reset button, get back at it, but look at the group we have now. It was 4 for a time. Now, what are we looking at? I'm just trying to see the full gap. At least 8, maybe 9 or 10 drivers in this lead group. Okay, maybe that's 15 or 16.
It is unbelievable how big this group is, and we are still, Rob, not even close to the halfway marker yet. 6 laps complete, 12 laps to go in the 18-lap pre-final. We're going to keep the eye on the action. At the same time, we got to give some love to this kid right here, Rocco Simone, your unofficial winner in Micro Swift right now. The championship point leader, or at least championship tied, now officially takes over the points lead going into Sunday. He's cut up and gotten to the scale line area.
It took me a few laps to get up to like 8th, 9th, but then since then I just knew I had to get my head down and go.
Can you describe to me how you were feeling on that last lap when you finally passed P2 for P1?
Yeah, it felt great. I knew Vega opened up, so I had to go in it, and I knew I had to block and block and block.
Great job. You are our championship points leader. Who do you want to thank for helping you out the whole SKUSA season?
Yannick, my mom, my dad, my grandma, and my grandpa.
Awesome. Great win, Rocco. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's awesome for Rocco Simone. Again, the gap came open. He had to take it, and he finds himself as the race winner. Tremendous season so far. This race we're watching here right now, KA 100 Junior Xander, has been a barn burner. We've seen drivers come from deep in the field, scrapping their way back up. At one point, we had a group probably of around 20 drivers within a couple of seconds. It right now, literally 3 seconds is the top 11. You got to go to the top 16 to go 4 seconds back, front to back. This race, the field hasn't spread out at all. Everybody's just settled right in here now.
Yeah. I mean, Elio Meza obviously had to come through forward. So did Gaffera, who's going to go to the lead. Both of these drivers started outside the top 10, way outside the top 10, actually. Meza started 14th, Gaffera started 16th, and now Gaffera to the lead, Meza back to second. But still, I mean, like you said, it's kind of settled out, but everyone's still loosely tied together. They fight hard enough, it'll open back up again. At least for Caleb Gaffera, this is kind of damage control completed after the penalty put him all the way deep in the pack after the pre-final.
He started 16th. I just can't believe the run for both Elio Meza and Caleb Gaffera right now. Those two drivers absolutely rocket fast, have worked their way back up to 1 and 2. Meza went to P1 first. Here comes Gaffera, a strong move to the inside of turn 5, and starting there in 16th position, it took him 8 laps to get himself to P1, another purple lap, a 108.470, already pulling 0.4 of a second on Elio Meza, who's now got Jesus Vasquez Jr., Valentino Garbarino, and Aiden Ingrata right behind him. Vasquez, Garbarino, and Ingrata all turning their fastest laps last time by, Xander, 108.6. 108.7, 108.8, but it's Gaffera, another 0.2 faster, 108.4. The Rawlson Performance Group driver who comes in trying to battle for the championship here in KA100 Junior, really getting the job done from a deep grid starting spot.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job here as we approach the halfway mark. 9 in, we've still got 9 more laps to go. I mean, they were fighting so hard, you'd think we were already well towards the checkered flag, the finishing point of this one, but there's still a lot of time left. And so for Gaffera and for Meza, I would have to imagine they thought they wouldn't even be close to the front by now. This is normally the midpoint of the race when you've got to really dig deep, show your pace, flex your muscle a bit, and hope the leaders start to battle late and get there. But they've gotten there way sooner, I think, than they probably expected. Some smart driving, heads-up driving by both of these two drivers. There's a reason why they have been at the forefront and winning as many of the national mains in 100cc competition as they have this year. Both Gaffera and Meza, they know how to navigate these grids. As we see Ingrata take over the third spot. He's also coming from a little deeper in the field, not from where he started, but where he ended up at the end of the first lap because he got put way down the order.
Yeah, indeed, and he just made a move to get to the inside of Jesus Vasquez Jr., so Ingrata now up into the third spot. That'll move Vasquez back into 4th. 5th is Garbarino. 6th, Luke Kay. 7th is Shipman. 8th, Brinkman. 9th, Ardiles. And 10th is Spencer Conrad. Everybody essentially other than Gaffera in the top 12 turning their fast lap last time by. But Gaffera's lap, even not though his fast, is still a 108.4, quicker than the majority of those drivers. You wonder, coming through the field, you never know what's going to happen in terms of pushback bumper, right? That's one of the things. Let's have a look at Gaffera. That front looks a little low for Gaffera. You got to wonder. I see the same potentially with Meza. That's part of the program, the pushback bumper program here. There are penalties if your bumper is pushed back. We'll keep an eye on that. Otherwise, Gaffera trying to pull away. All 3 of these drivers with their heads down right now. Top 3. And Ingrata just went purple, 107.949. And there goes Meza to the move to the inside. A turn number 3. Elio Meza back to P1.
Now let's see here. Meza's going to block, so he doesn't want to have Gaffera try to answer back on him. That'll kind of stack him up a little bit. Here comes this group coming back together again. Ingrata, Vasquez Jr., Garbarino, all slowly closing together. The top 4 at least are single file and nose to tail. The next group about 3 to 4 car lengths away. We've dropped off a few towards the end of this group. Some of the drivers that were up early are no longer even in the top 10. Oscar Iliff, 3.5 seconds back in 11th. Alex Mercado has also dropped outside the top 10 to 12th. Steven Eisert was up there a little bit, not too much, and then Stephen Miller kind of hovered around the 10th position most of this session. He's down in the 14th spot, so we've lost some here, and then you look again, Fernando Luque has led a good bit of this race. He's down in 7th, 2 seconds back from this leading group right here. Meza will put 11 laps down. Caleb Gaffera trailing him, 7 to go. Big run to the bumper. He'll push him towards turn 3.
Lots of racing still to come after KA100 Junior. We'll have the senior drivers of KA, Mini Swift, Pro Shifter, X30 Junior, Master Shifter, and we'll cap off the day with X30 Senior. We got ourselves a great battle up front here right now as these guys scrapping it out. Caleb Gaffera has gone back to P1. He's brought Aiden Ingrata with him. So Ingrata goes up into the second spot. And these drivers all starting outside the top 5. Ingrata 7th. Ingrata rather in 7th spot. Gaffera and Mesa both outside the top 15.
Here we go towards the cell tower hairpin here. Caleb Gaffera has Aiden Ingrata all over him for, I think, the first time this race, at least the first time for the lead. Ingrata, again, fell all the way outside the top 10 by about lap number 4 and really just kind of slowly cut his way back up the order. For the Speed Concepts Racing CRG driver here, he's looking to maybe go through to the lead, I would think, because I don't think pushing Gaffera is going to build any kind of a gap right now. Mesa and Gaffera tried it both ways, didn't pan out. We've still got 6 drivers in this group. Let's see what Ingrata does down by turn 3 this time. 6 to go. Ingrata, bumper, look in, not going to go. He'll stay tucked behind him through turn 3.
Yeah, make it 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 and 7 back there as well. That'll be Shipman, Luque, Garbarino, right there. Another half a second back to Cameron Brinkman, who currently runs in 8th spot. You can see all of them starting to close up. The minute they start racing in some of these tighter hairpin corners, everybody else closing in, but Ingrata and Gaffera hoping to try to pull away.
Yeah, here we go. 6 laps left, and Garbarino trailing the end of the group in 7th. Brinkman's only half a second away. He could get up onto this pack as well as we watch Jesus Vasquez Jr. currently 4th on the racetrack, make it up to 3rd, having gone by on Mesa. It's allowed the top 2 to get a little bit of a gap. This is the window right here. With a gap this size, if Aiden Ingrata stays loyal to Caleb Gaffera, they will be long gone by the time we hit the 2 to go signal.
Don't leave your wingman, right? Stay with them and you'll be able to pull away, because all it's going to take is the mindset change of the drivers in third and fourth. The minute they think they're running for that spot, are you running for the last position on the podium and not the race win? That's when everything changes for the front 3 drivers. So right now, Jesus Vasquez Jr., P3, he's still full forward. He's saying, we can still get here. We can still get here. He's worried about Shipman, thinking about P3. Here's the move to the bottom of the racetrack, and they're going to bring as well, along with them, Elio Mesa once again. I don't know if this was it or not, but Shipman goes to P3.
Yeah, again, going back on it, like you said, I don't know if this was it. I don't know if that was the best move for Cooper Shipman. Obviously, he thought it was. I think he thought maybe Vasquez would not have enough pace on his own to lead them forward. He looked back, also probably saw he had Elio Mesa, his teammate, behind him, knowing that they work well together, hoping that Mesa could track him down. And we've seen this. We saw this we've seen this at multiple races where Elio Mesa and Cooper Shipman, they practice together, they train together down in Houston, Texas, and then they come to the national level, and when they work together, it's like a dream.
You know, Xander, that's a really good point. Anybody else maybe behind Cooper Shipman and he doesn't go. But knowing that it's Mesa, if we both get by, you're going to work with me. It's not like you're going to fight all the way. They will work all the way to the very end. That's a really good point with teammates that can potentially hook up, and they're doing that right now. We'll look at lap times. Gaffera just turned his fastest lap last time by, a 108.172. He and Ingrata about a full second ahead of Cooper Shipman. But we'll look at those lap times next time by, Ingrata compared to Shipman, to find out whether or not those 2 drivers are going to close up, or whether or not the front 2 guys are pulling away.
Yeah, we'll find out, of course, in a moment. Now, with Shipman making the pass in the scoreboard hairpin, he only gave up about 1/10 of a second to Caleb Gaffera. So you'd like to think if Mesa's good, which Mesa got to his bumper midway on the straightaway from turn 3 to turn 4, they could make up ground. And we know at some point, Aiden Ingrata and Caleb Gaffera are going to start fighting for the lead. That one is for sure. Aiden Ingrata is going to go for the win here in this case. It's just, when does he go? And again, Ingrata probably's got the SCR guys on the fence line saying, be patient, wait till the last possible second, because we've got 2 teammates working together behind you, and they will get there in probably about 2 passes worth of time. 3 to go here this time by. Ingrata being loyal still, but that time by, it worked out good. They pulled 1/10 away over Shipman.
And this is good. Ingrata holding on. I'll tell you this, Xander. I don't care which races, what we're watching, but when it's 2 drivers like this is the anxiety I get from motorsports. I want them to wait. I really want them to wait because I want to see it happen. I want to see them do the right strategy move and then have that great run at the end. It's when they start battling I get frustrated because I really want to see them understand and fully comprehend when you're leading like this. There's a strategy move you play to pull away. It's the same thing when you get to racing cars. When you start battling too much too early, everybody closes up. This is a real show, I think, of maturity, and right now 100% for Hayden Ingrata.
Again, exactly like you said, a sign of maturity here. We're talking to looking at two drivers that are, not rookies in the junior class, staring down senior next year, obviously staring down car racing as they look over to other avenues, and they are proving that they are ready for all of that, to move up to the seniors, to move over to car racing, to move up to car racing, all of it. 2 to go here this time. Gafera and Ingrata at the line. Gave up a little bit of time, but they're still safe for the moment. 9/10 up to a second on Cooper Shipman with 2 laps to go. Ingrata will remain in line once again.
Yeah, key right now, stay where he is because they did lose about a 1/10.5 last time by. Shipman and Mesa doing exactly what Xander said. The two Iron Rock Motorsports teammates are just locked together, pushing each other. You can see how much closer they are now. It still is quite a bit. They're not in the point where they can battle yet. It'll all be about Ingrata waiting for the final lap to pass because eventually Gafera is going to go on the defensive. And when he does, if it's too early in the lap, that'll bring Shipman and Mesa in. Vasquez back another 1.5 seconds. So at the very most, it's going to be a 2-4 driver battle. There's the move right there over in turn number 10. Ingrata has gone to P1.
Here we go through the horseshoe. Hayden Ingrata, Caleb Gafera, they've cut that gap in half now with that one maneuver. One more pass like that. This 3 to 4 car line cushion, there's a little bit of insurance they have to Cooper Shipman. It will go away. The good news, at least, is the final lap, so there won't be anyone else joining the party. At most, we get 4. At minimum, we get 2. And here we go. Final time around for KA Junior. Hayden Ingrata leads them down the Long Pond straightaway. Gafera, big head of steam. He'll push him over the kink to turn 3, and he'll follow him down to the inside of the racetrack.
Oh, here come the Iron Rock Motorsports boys. That's not the place to do it. The first hairpin means you lose all the run down to the next one, and here they come. Shipman and Mesa are here. Mesa going to try to run the outside. 4 drivers in the battle here for KA100 Junior. Who's going to come away with podium steps? Gafera thinks about the inside of turn number 7. Can't quite make it stick. Back up over the rise through the little kink of turn number 8. Through 9, another awesome opportunity here to pass to the inside. Gafera, does he do it? He'll look to the bottom of the racetrack. Gafera goes to P1, book it. But coming around the other side, Gafera drops a wheel. He'll go back to P4. He'll slide into 3rd right now. Xander, here comes the final couple of corners. Ingrata leading out of turn number 11.
Towards the scale tower. Final time today. Ingrata all the way to the bottom. This corner's caused a lot of chaos. One more opportunity, really, for Cooper Shipman. Ingrata covers it off through the final turn. Hayden Ingrata wins KA Junior here for Saturday. Gafera threw it, had the Hail Mary pass. The only window Ingrata gave him on that final lap was just enough for one cart width on the inside of the cell tower. You can't blame Caleb Gafera. You can't fault him for it. He went for it. He just ran out of grip, ran out of real estate by the exit of the corner and dropped a wheel. And I'm really impressed, I want to say, Rob, by Cooper Shipman because he was sliding through the dirt before we got to that cell tower hairpin through the kink.
Yeah.
Somehow, he was able to make that turn normal and have enough grip to challenge Ingrata all the way to the finish.
Well, obviously, coming into that corner with the move Gafera made, that checked up Ingrata. Everybody slowed up, so maybe a little bit of luck there for Shipman, but he totally capitalized on it. What a great run for him. 83 thousandths of a second at the line. Hayden Ingrata showing that poise and maturity through the second half of that race, waiting to pull the trigger. It really didn't matter because when they eventually went at it, it did allow Shipman and Mason to get in there. But the 2 Iron Rock Motorsports drivers, proof positive of them working together. Shipman ends up 2nd, Mesa back into 3rd. Caleb Gafera, who started 16th, ends up in 4th, came out of the short end of that stick, P4. And Jesus Vasquez Jr. rounding out the top 5. Cameron Brinkman, Valentino Garbarino, Fernando Luque, Diego Ardiles, and Oscar Iliff rounding out the top 10. But, man, that was just a fun race to watch over the last handful of laps.
Yeah, that was awesome here. So, again, all the way through, Mesa and Gafera up 12 spots, coming back from their penalties. Shipman up 8, Ingrata up 6 after falling outside the top 10. Really, that put him in the double digits gained as well. How about Charlie Smith, the Nash Motorsports driver, picked up 25 spots to finish 13th, coming from dead last on the grid. Keegan Kaminsky picked up a number of positions as well. So a few more movers all the way out there. And again, heartbreak. I think it was Oliver Weldon was the driver that lost the front bumper off the Lando Norris cart early on. He gets credited with a 39th position finish. Nash Motorsports, KA Junior, done and dusted. 2 down, 6 more coming your way. And like you said, Rob, K100 Senior with the championship on the line. You got the two drivers fighting for it, starting on the front row. Stick with us. We got more coming your way.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment, look no further than Rev Performance Materials engine mounts, sprockets, and arcade chains. Available online now at RevPerformanceMaterials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material, built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
Come back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park for the K100 Senior Division presented by Ryan Perry Motorsport. Alex Stanfield and Jeremy Fletcher come in separated by less than 50 points to today. Then you go through. Stanfield qualifies on the pole. Fletcher wins the pre-final. All the points split apart. Jeremy Fletcher, and after everything was settled, Oliver Calvo gets credited with P2 to start on the grid with Alex Stanfield rolling off third. Parker DeLong to the outside of row number 2.
Row 3 will have Josh Campbell alongside Aiden Levy, while Mick Gabriel and Drew Chappelle will be row 4. Caleb Schrader and Connor Ferris on row number 5. Solid top 10 here. Xander drivers getting set to roll.
Yeah, here we go. On to the front straightaway. Jeremy Fletcher to the inside on the RPM Tony kart. Oliver Calvo in the Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed. A pair of Tony karts behind him with Alex Stanfield for GWR and Parker DeLong to make it 2 RPM Tony karts in the RPM sponsored division. We're green. Up the hill. First time to turn 3 with 43 drivers in main event action. How do they go through the opening hairpin off the start? The first 10 are clean. The first 20 are clean. Everybody's clean through turn number 3 for the first time today. As they head to the scoreboard hairpin, it's Fletcher and Stanfield, the two heavyweights in the championship fight. Lead your field. Do they make it to the scoreboard hairpin? We're way wide. Somehow, the field is clean and green to the green hairpin, Rob.
Yeah, super solid opening complex of corners for the drivers here in their KA100 senior, rather. And that was great to see. You never knew what were going to happen here, how many drivers could get super aggressive. Otherwise, everybody giving each other just enough room to get through that very technical couple of corners. They'll work their way through the back half of the racetrack right now. And again, Jeremy Fletcher, who had such a good run in that pre-final, able to hold on to the early lead right now. Everybody's settling in. Everybody taking that quick look over the shoulder, coming out of 11, getting a reset. Where am I? Who's around me? What have I got to do here? You always want to kind of figure out what happened on that opening lap so you can start the strategy to figure out where you need to be and who is around you. We'll begin lap number 1 right now. Lap 2 rather. Fletcher, Stanfield, Campbell, Calvo, and Gabriel. Good start for Josh Campbell. Xander up into P3.
Yeah, a great start for Josh Campbell here. And I was surprised. Mick Gabriel showed a little bit of patience there, the veteran, and calls Newcastle Motorsports Park one of his many tracks he's got a lot of laps at. Oliver Calvo dropped a big-time wheel coming out of turn number 4. I thought he was going to get shuffled. He didn't. The driver that just got shuffled through the scoreboard hairpin, though, was your race leader, Jeremy Fletcher. It's Alex Stanfield and the GWR Tony kart leading the way out of the green corner.
Good opening couple of laps here for the drivers in KA 100 Senior. Everybody kind of settling in. We'll pick some up with the drivers that are moving up pretty quickly, but otherwise the lead guys just kind of settling in nicely. Again, it's an 18-lap race for KA 100 Seniors, the 16-lap for our cadet categories, and the opening group kind of pulled away here. Maybe about 10 drivers, I think, in that lead pack. You can see the gap back to that next solo driver running there by himself, probably in about 11th or 12th position. We'll give you a rundown of the top 15 when they come back across the line to set things up for the opening laps here. Stanfield has gone to P1. The Texans gone to the lead ahead of Jeremy Fletcher. He's got about a half a second right now. You can see the gap that Stanfield's been able to pull early. Oliver Calvo in the yellow helmet making a move to the inside. Move Calvo in the Speed Concepts Racing Machine now up into second. Fletcher third. Mick Gabriel in fourth and Parker DeLong rounding out the top five. Josh Campbell slotting back to sixth after going to third on the opening circuit. Frankie Mossman up 4 spots into 7th. Aiden Levy, Drew Chappelle, and Adam Maxwell up 6 spots into 10th. Cedric Lupian, Connor Ferris, Diego Ramos, Nicholas Terlecki, and Peyton Phillips round out the top 15.
So here they go. This big group, similar to what we saw in K Junior. Not as many right now, only 8 drivers deep, but only sounds funny to say, only 8 drivers. As we see Mick Gabriel, a slide job on Jeremy Fletcher, the championship points leader, in trouble right now as he's got everybody swarming him. DeLong's through, and it looks like Frankie Mossman got put in the dirt. He'll lose a ton of time as now Drew Chappell's going to get a run on him, probably be able to get by for 8th. And up front, we're seeing a little bit of a breakaway beginning to form for Alex Stanfield and Oliver Calvo back to Mick Gabriel.
Yeah, you can see drivers with that was definitely elbows up. They were getting there hardcore. Frankie Mossman was kind of the outside. He was trying to see if he can muscle his way back in. Jeremy Fletcher was doing whatever he could to hold on. He's fallen back to 5th position now, but things have settled down a little bit. You can see a lot of these drivers throwing sliders at each other and really starting to get aggressive in terms of that mid-corner defense where you're kind of diving down a little bit harder to the apex to pinch down to the drivers making moves. Well, otherwise, up front, it's Stanfield and Calvo 1-2. They've got themselves about a full second now over Mick Gabriel.
Yeah, Mick Gabriel and Parker DeLong. That's an interesting pairing there to see. Gabriel with not a lot of national experience or national laps here in the last couple seasons on the SKUSA Pro Tour or any major series here. He's run a lot of 4-cycle racing with the new AAM shop with him and his father, and that's about it. In the entry-level 206 divisions as we go side by side, Jeremy Fletcher, Frankie Mossman, and Drew Chappell all going back and forth in the cell tower hairpin. And then on the flip side of the Gabriel DeLong pairing, you got Parker DeLong, his KA senior debut here this weekend. So an amped-up rookie and a veteran making a return to the SKUSA Pro Tour and a Newcastle.
And add that little bit extra to Mick Gabriel. Not only, obviously, he runs a lot of Briggs racing, but when he does, he wins. This guy wins a ton when it comes to Briggs racing. You're always seeing him fast qualifier, winning races. So cool to see him out here in the 2-cycle machine as well, running on the Pro Tour.
Right. Again, you think back, when Mick Gabriel was a little more active on running the SKUSA Pro Tour, the U.S. Pro Kart Series, the WK Man Cup, all your typical series in 125cc competition. He's a tag race winner as well. So he's been up front in about everything he's driven. And right now he's trying to drive his way back to the lead. At the moment, they are making an even headway, holding that gap stationary at 1 second. We got 2 together back in the field. Diego Ramos is out, along with one of the Franklin Motorsports drivers. It looked like a Franklin Motorsports livery, if I'm not mistaken, but Diego Ramos, a day that's just kind of gone from bad to worse for him here in the, it was Terlecki, Nick Terlecki in the 980 in the Holtz DD OTK. That was for 11th. They came together there in turn number 5.
Couple of drivers we expected to be top 10 throughout the day, and they were kind of dialing things in. Terlecki had moved forward in that pre-final. Up front, though, again, Stanfield and Calvo seeing if they can't pull away here by themselves. This is what we saw in the last race, and they have a pretty solid gap. But again, there's another battle right there with them, right? Mick Gabriel and Parker DeLong, like you said, those two lined up to potentially reel them in. Then it's the bigger gap back now to Aiden Levy. It is 1.8 seconds, so a pretty good advantage now for the front-running 4 drivers. Those 2 pairings, Xander, have stretched away to almost 2 seconds of an advantage over the driver running P5.
Yeah, and that's because, again, that driver running P5 has changed quite a bit, and it's changing again here. As we see, there's some drivers at the end of the group there. Josh Campbell battling. He was fighting with Adam Maxwell and Drew Chappell and Peyton Phillips all kind of in this little mixture. Actually, sorry, Phillips a little further back from that pack, but trying to get up there. Here's Jeremy Fletcher with now a little bit of a gap back as Aiden Levy trails Frankie Mossman, who's gone to 5th, and there's Campbell under fire from Chappell. Chappell not able to get through once again.
Some great racing all the way through the field. And that's the beauty of when you run here on the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, a lot of the major programs. You come out, depending on where you are, whatever your skill set is, whatever your pace is, there's going to be someone that you're going to be able to go wheel to wheel with, whether it's for 5th or whether it's for 25th. You're going to be scrapping out for a position. Good wheel to wheel racing. And that's what this is all about, is having fun at the racetrack and still having a very high level of competition. As this battle a bit further back that Xander had talked about. And funny, you look deeper in the field again, go back to 12th right now, and that's Caleb Schrader, who had just gone purple. He started actually in the 9th position, fell back a bit, but Caleb Schrader on that Ramos Performance Group number 921's got a pretty fast cart right now, 107.895. Xander, he was a couple seconds quicker than the leader, a couple tenths rather.
Yeah, a little bit quicker, and so were Mick Gabriel and Parker DeLong. Not a lot, gained about a 0.5 of a second, but they did gain a little bit. So after losing a little bit the previous lap, they gained back up to Oliver Calvo and Alex Stanfield. Their margin right now here with 11.5 laps to go is still only 1.1 seconds back to P3. So through the corner we go towards the short chute, towards turn number 12. Alex Stanfield looking like he's in a really good spot to make up some points. His championship rival, Jeremy Fletcher, down in 7th, buried in the midfield at the moment, or the middle of the top 10, 3.5 seconds back from him.
Indeed, high level of competition here at the SKUSA Pro Tour. For Stanfield to win a potential championship here this weekend would be big for that young driver's career, trying to put that on the racing resume. Here's a fight further back, as we've talked about. Look at the scrap down to the inside. Good move there. Solid run to the inside. That's a solid way to get the pass done. You still get enough forward momentum coming out of the corner, and you're able to hold on to that spot. That is a great pass there for Jeremy Fletcher. That's what it is. We've seen so many guys, Xander, in that corner. You make the dive bomb move, check everybody else up, and you've destroyed your lap. Everybody else is closing up, and you're not making any ground to the guys in front of you. That move by Fletcher there, he maintained so much corner speed that probably really didn't hurt him in terms of lap time.
No, I don't think so at all. And again, kudos to Frankie Mossman for pushing him right behind. He knows how quick Jeremy's been. He knows they're way back from the top 4 and that they need Mick Gabriel and Parker DeLong to get there and really trigger a good fight to bring them back into the mix. But at least they've got the chance to break off some of the stragglers behind them if their pace can improve. And if Jeremy Fletcher thinks he can lead the way a little quicker than Mossman, Mossman's going to give him that chance because they've got company. Adam Maxwell is up 9 positions into 7th. Aiden Levy trails him, and Drew Chappell has started to lose a little bit of touch with that group, now gaining back up. He and Josh Campbell, I think, kind of got tangled together, and so they've lost ground. And look at this. Back up front, Oliver Calvo's gone to the lead. I don't know what just happened there, but Oliver Calvo's gone by Alex Stanfield, and they gave up over half a second. Mick Gabriel and Parker DeLong have arrived.
Yeah, it's a 4-driver battle up front. Remember that 1 second lead? It is gone. They were chipping away at it 1/10 of a time. Now they're on top of each other again. So Calvo now your leader, Stanfield second, Gabriel and DeLong in 3rd and 4th. Now they have 2.2 seconds back to Jeremy Fletcher. We're not even to the halfway point. This time by, it'll be 9 down, 9 to go. So we only get to the crossed halfway flags when they get back to start finish. So this is a long way from being done. And you wonder whether or not these drivers up front can calm themselves. Can they stay patient? Or do they all want to lead? Parker DeLong's going to want to go forward. Mick Gabriel's got there. Do they settle in? Or do we start going, nose to tail, swinging at each other?
We don't know. We're about to find out here. Let's see what they look like with them all hooked up down the Long Pond straightaway. Alex Stanfield on the bumper of Oliver Calvo to turn 3. Does he go back to the lead? He does not. Gabriel, again, you go back on all the laps he's spent in a Briggs kart and a low horsepower kart. He's done some 100cc stuff on the regional stage over the last couple of seasons, but they're just starting to dabble in it. And Stanfield going to the lead, back to it. Calvo back to second. Gabriel just kind of trying to hang in there. He knows that this pack could get a lot bigger in a hurry, and unfortunately, it's going to bite him. Parker DeLong will go for 3rd. And Jeremy Fletcher, there is nothing better that could happen to his championship hopes right now than what's going on for the lead group.
Yeah, I love seeing Stanfield get that thing down to the bottom of 5 and just get his body over, get that thing to jack that weight, bringing up the inside rear tire and really get that thing to rotate at the corner. That allowed him to finish that pass and still have some good forward momentum out of the corner. So he has gone back to the lead. Calvo slotting back into the second. 3rd is, again, Parker DeLong. 4th, Mick Gabriel. And as Xander said before I was talking about Stanfield, Fletcher's just licking his lips right now. Come on, boys. Keep fighting. You got to keep scrapping. I'm trying to close. 107.921 last time by for Stanfield. 107.832 for Fletcher. So he was 1/10 of a second quicker, even though Stanfield turned his best Fletcher's doing what he can. He's 1.5 back. With 8 laps to go, he needs to be about 0.2 quicker a lap.
And again, too, right? Like, he's quicker than Stanfield by a 10th, that's for sure. But when they leapfrog like that, he was judged off of Calvo, because Calvo was the leader last time by. Now Calvo back to the lead. So in reality, Jeremy Fletcher gained about 2.5 tenths. He went from 1.9 back to the tail of Gabriel and DeLong to 1.5, 2.3 back from the lead to 2.1. And now with him passing again, that's another 2 tenths in the hat of Jeremy Fletcher. At this rate, 2-3 more passes. He'll be within a second of the back of the group right there. He's already coming into frame. And Adam Maxwell, he's been a silent, slow mover this entire race. You talk about a kid that's just coming into his element once again. They've kind of, as they built up their family race team, the AMAX racing team, they went to find a bunch of customers, a bunch of new families in. They're a budget-oriented team. And so they went to the local, to the regional level, to the Briggs 206 races. And they wanted to get Adam back more and more onto the two-stroke, onto the top-level events, like the SKUSA Pro Tour. Ran the Supernats last year with Mike Doty Racing. They've been running a couple USPKS events. They're set for the full SKUSA Pro Tour in 2023. And he, as they've progressed with the team back up, he's gotten himself back to the top stage here on the senior level, and he is coming with Fletcher as they pass for the lead again.
Yeah, Fletcher's bringing a whole host of drivers with him too, right? Fletcher, Maxwell, and Mossman all turned their fastest laps last time by. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Aiden Levy's right there behind them. Only 4 tenths back is Drew Chappell and Josh Campbell. And Campbell just turned fast lap at a 1:07.580. Really, the guy they have to watch right now is how close are they to McGabriel. He's the end of that group, right? The minute they get Gabriel, they're right there. Right now, Fletcher behind Gabriel by only 0.9 of a second. It was faster by 6 tenths last time by. We're talking 2 laps. He's getting to the draft area right now. We're going to find ourselves with likely 10 drivers in the lead group before this is all said and done. 7 laps to go.
And I just want to call this here before this might happen and see if my prediction could come true. Don't forget, Oliver Calvo and Frankie Mossman were not happy with each other in the pre-final today, to the point that Frankie Mossman declined to comment for an interview. Frankie Mossman's in that group catching Oliver Calvo right now, and as Calvo goes with Parker DeLong, who takes the lead for his first ever laps led in a senior category, he's going to take them to the inside. DeLong will block the bottom side, and that's it. We've got a 10-car pack.
Oh, no. Yeah, Parker was looking over his shoulder. Like you said, he's 14 years of age. Here he is looking over the shoulder. I've got a lead here, and going all defensive down into turn number 5 has changed this thing entirely. 10 drivers in the lead group for KA100 Senior, and we've got 6 laps still to go. Is that even more than 10? That might be 11 drivers in this lead group when they get back around here. We'll give you a full rundown when they come through, but look at this gaggle of drivers coming out of turn 11, and away we go. Calvo back to P1.
And a great move by Jeremy Fletcher and Frankie Mossman to catch Mick Gabriel off guard. Here's Fletcher on the bumper as DeLong's drop back 2 spots. Calvo back to the lead. Stanfield the second. Alex Stanfield's going to take a look around here in a moment, and he's going to be like, what in the world happened, and where did Jeremy Fletcher come from? They're now only 1 driver separated, and again, Fletcher is teammates with DeLong. He'll go by DeLong. He'll double do it. Through to the inside on Alex Stanfield. Jeremy Fletcher has turned this championship picture back on its head again. He's into P2.
And what, a lap? Was that 1 lap where Parker DeLong ends up going back to 6th position? Defended into turn number 5, brought everybody back in. He's been shuffled back to P6 right now. So it's everybody, all hands on deck for these final couple of laps. Looked like it was going to be a 3 or a 4 driver breakaway. It ends up being a huge gaggle of drivers up front. And we talked about the fact that Oliver Calvo and the Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed Machine had taken over the lead. But what a run right now as well for Jeremy Fletcher, getting himself back into the fight. He was for all intents and purposes, was done. Was back by 1.5 seconds, but all the racing has allowed him to get back into the fight.
I will say, this looks like something out of the Jaws movie series here. Oliver Calvo leading. The pack is hunting him down, specifically Jeremy Fletcher, who just set his personal best last time by. He'll get a big run of steam here. Alex Stanfield's disconnected, so they won't gain as much, but they're going to gain on the bright yellow helmet of Oliver Calvo, and it goes all the way back to Adam Maxwell, who trails Frankie Mossman. So Mossman into 4th, Maxwell 5th. Like you said, DeLong is 6th. Mick Gabriel I don't know what happened to Gabriel there about a lap ago. I think he might have got knocked off the racetrack. He's dropped down to 10th, lost 2 seconds. So unfortunate for Mick Gabriel after running in the top 4 all race and doing the heavy lifting to get to the lead. They battled, and now he's outside the top 5.
Top 6 drivers separated by just 1.4 seconds. Calvo, Fletcher, Stanfield, Mossman, Maxwell, and DeLong. Adam Maxwell into the fight here right now, into the discussion for a potential podium finish. Even anybody in this top 6 could win this before it's all said and done. Who will it be? It's still Calvo leading the way. It'll be 3 laps to go when they get back around. They'll work their way through the combination right, left, right of 12, 13, and 14. Calvo leads. You see right there, Stanfield, P3. He knows he's got the guy in front of him that he's got to beat in this championship as well. It's Fletcher and Stanfield in the middle of the scrap here. Cedric Lupien, who's part of the championship battle as well, well down the order. 13th right now for Cedric Lupien. So this is Fletcher versus Stanfield, is a battle here in Newcastle.
Yeah, and we're waiting on Fletcher to get the run on Calvo. He's been pushing him so far with 2.5 laps to go. No move. Here's Frankie Mossman making some noise. He'll go through to 3rd as Parker DeLong about a half lap ago was able to get by an Adam Maxwell and set the fastest time of the race in doing so at a 1:07.53. So they've still got about a 2.25 back to Aiden Levy in the 990 as they go towards the cell tower hairpin. Oliver Calvo still showing the way, knowing that he's got company there waiting, and Jeremy Fletcher, one of the best here to do it so far in KA Senior in 2022.
Yeah, and just happens that Parker DeLong went purple last time by a 1:07.530. So the car of Parker DeLong feeling pretty good out there. Of course, he's getting that tow from Frankie Mossman in front of him, so there's an opportunity there still. Adam Maxwell has got shuffled back to P6. A bit of a more gap between the drivers here as they come across the line to put lap number 16 in the books, and a bit of an advantage right now for Calvo as he continues to push his way down into turn number 3. Fletcher does not pull the trigger, and you can see right there Frankie Mossman in 3rd in that Bennick machine, running for Team Bennick on the EOS. Fletcher thinking about it.
Oh, yep, got him. Oh, overshot it. Mossman to the lead. Wow. Frankie Mossman's got Calvo there, and these two that tangled in the pre-final now 1st and 2nd. The championship rivals 3rd and 4th. You couldn't write this story any better, Rob. 10 laps ago, we thought we were in for a 2-driver fight, and now we've got a completely different looking group of 6.
Xander, you race, I race. Isn't that the absolute most best thing when you're in 3rd and you're right there and the 2 guys get into each other and just open racetrack for you? It's like, hello, this is all yours. And I guarantee Mossman had a smile on his face when he was able to go down to the inside, but Calvo coming right back at him. He's got the inside to go into turn 12. Mossman, though, slotting in to that P2 position. Everybody else stacking up behind. Now you got to think about what you're going to do. White flag flying. Final lap here for KA 100. Calvo, Mossman, Stanfield, Fletcher back into 4th. DeLong 5th. Maxwell 6th. Chappell not that far back as well as he's closed back up. Mossman thinking about the inside. No. Calvo covers him off. Sander, big run down to turn number 5.
Here we go. Final time to turn 5, the longest braking zone on the racetrack. Does anyone try to be Superman around the outside? Looks like Fletcher is going to look for it. Doesn't gain a whole lot, but he's watching Stanfield. And again, both of them with this pack getting bigger and bigger. One bad move, and they go way back. Look at Mossman down the inside for the lead on the final time on Calvo. He takes over the spot. It's stacking them up again to the cell tower. Calvo's looking. Do they come together for the lead in the win? He's trying it down the inside. Calvo back to the lead with just a 1/4 of a lap to go, and Stanfield's on the high side. He's weighing the marbles.
That's a tough place to be on the outside of turn number 11, and he gets, or 9 rather. He gets shot a little bit there. Coming out. Oh, more contact. Huge drivers off. Calvo's up clean. Everybody else coming from deeper in the field. We had 2 or 3 drivers getting together. Oliver Calvo's going to win with no pressure whatsoever. He got ahead of the chaos. Calvo with the victory. Fletcher holds on to 2nd. Parker DeLong in his debut onto the podium in the number 198. He'll end up P3. Aiden Levy up into 4th. Peyton Phillips 5th. Alex Stanfield falling down into 6th spot. McGabriel in 7th. 8th was Connor Ferris. 9th, Caleb Schrader. And 10th was Cedric Lupien as Frankie Mossman and Adam Maxwell falling to the tail of the field right now. Mossman off the racetrack. He threw everything he could at that one. Looks like he may be holding the wrist right now, Xander, but wow, some wild racing coming into turn number 11.
Yeah, obviously hoping Frankie Mossman's okay there. I'm sure he's just a little bit banged up. They all kind of got drove over as Jeremy Fletcher stuffed it down the inside at the end of the horseshoe for second. And then from there, Mossman just kind of got piled on top of Drew Chappell. Adam Maxwell also casualties on that final lap there. Good for Cedric Lupian a little bit to get back to 10th, but again, his championship contenders 6th and 2nd. And Alex Stanfield, that championship point swing for a minute went his favor. He was up to P2. 2 corners later, Fletcher was P2. He was back to P7. That's how quick things can change. Shout out to Peyton Phillips, 14 spots gained to 5th. And, of course, Oliver Calvo, it's been, in his opinion, probably a little bit too long since we have said Oliver Calvo is a SKUSA race national level winner. Man, it was earned today.
Yeah, and again, he's been digging. We've seen him win so many races. How many times was he able to win on the streets of Lancaster as well, right? Finally gets this big race win here. But I want to say, this was a win he earned, like you said. He had to fight his way. He ran up front. He controlled the pace of the race, and he kind of controlled the way the storyline happened for a majority of the laps.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Oliver Calvo, standout drive here to be able to get that one, and then always a little bit of lady luck what comes into play when you get that big of a lead pack there at the end. We'll definitely have to chat with him about it, so we're going to let them go through the scales, take a commercial break. When we come back, Mini Swift will be getting set to get on the racetrack, and Oliver Calvo and company are waiting on standby here to chat with us about what just went down in a fantastic KA Senior main event again.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun, sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not
to the
only
paddock,
develop
folks,
drivers,
attention, the paddock. We need the parents of Andrew Chapman, please, to the medic by the garages, by the start area.
It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com, and one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
Odenthal Racing Products, your #1 producer in engine mounts since 1992, along with our leading-edge designs and product development, such as the Odenthal Racing Products EasyGP camera mount, which comes in 4 different styles and can be used on any karting platform. To see our products online, go to odenthalracing.com.
through Castle Motorsports Park. Round 5 of the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, the Summer Nationals. Rounds 5 to round 6. Saturday action well underway as we got our way into the main events right now. A couple already done. Man, it's been a lot of fun to watch the battles we've had here in Micro. KA100 Junior and KA100 Senior. We'll come to the halfway point of our main events with the drivers in Mini Swift. This category brought to you by Parolin USA, and Keelan Harvick able to work his way to the front and win that pre-final to secure the pole position for the main event today. He'll start inside of row 1 alongside Isaac Malkit in the number 175. Row number 2 will have Ty Fisher in the 138 and Jack Eilef in the 102. On row 3, it'll be Michael McGahee alongside Asher Osteen, while row 4 we'll have Derek Wargo and Tyler Roberts. Johnny Stamps in the number 181 starting 9th alongside Travis Pettit, and Devin Waltz and Ashton Woon on row number 6. Fion Shi in the number 153 starting 13th alongside Turner Brown, while row 8 will have Cade Jager on the inside and Tyrone Kemper Jr. on the outside. Row 9, Max Weiland and Max Christia. Row 10, Edward Kennedy and Lucas Palacio. Keep an eye on Palacio coming from deep in the field to see if he can't work his way up front. Row 11, Sam Tutwiler alongside Juan Jose Paramo. And then on row number 12, it is Jensen Michelke and Gage Bailey. Bailey started on the pole for the pre-final. He has the pace to work forward. And Tristan Murphy's back there as well, starting 25th. If they work together, they may be able to get themselves back up front. Carson Berry and Mason Berry further back in the field alongside Alan Bonilla. Bristol Boardman, Felipe Jesus Benito, David Ramirez, and Caleb Tartar remain for the 32 drivers in the field. Harvick and Malkit bring them up to the line, and we're underway. Green, green, green for what will be 16 laps of racing here in Mini Swift. Can they get through turn number 3? The first time one driver dropping, well, that's Malkit. He's going to lose 5 or 6 spots, maybe even more. Count it, 10 spots for Malkit from the off pole all the way to the tail of this lead group. Everyone else diving their way in now to turn number 5. Further back, a couple of drivers having some issues there. One driver coming off, that is the, I believe, 136. That's Turner Brown. Turner actually sitting down beside the cart there for a second. He is off the outside of the racetrack in turn number 3. So Turner Brown involved in an incident on the opening run through those first couple of corners. Everyone else sliding their way through the opening circuit here right now. 16 total, as I had said. Keelan Harvick out to the early lead. Ty Fisher on that Villeneuve chassis, I believe, gets himself up into the second spot. So a good start to this race here now as Harvick and Fisher out front.
Nice little bit of a gap there for the top 2. 1 lap complete here, this time by for Mini Swift. While they work their way around the racetrack and down the Long Pond straightaway here with this nice little battle just behind your top 5. We've got our race winner here, and it's been a long time coming. Back in victory lane and on the top step of the podium, Oliver Calvo has caught up with our Jenna Tommy. Jenna?
Oliver, this is your first Pro Tour race win in senior. How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel amazing, man. This is my first one. I've got a lot of podiums, but this was a long time coming.
And that was such an incredible battle. Can you describe that race to me?
I mean, it's just a dogfight out there. There's an inch of room. Everybody sends it, and I found a way around Frankie somehow. He gave me two wheels in the grass, 2 wheels on the track, and I just sent it over the curb, and I got in front and let the rest of the fight happen behind me.
I was shocked that Frankie was the only one that did not finish from that group. It was a dogfight. It was hard. Who do you want to thank for this win?
I want to thank everybody at Speed Concepts, my dad, Greg Bell, Mark from Comment, and all my friends back home, especially my hogs.
Congrats, Oliver. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, what a fantastic drive for Oliver Calvo. Hey, you called it early on. You said you figured sooner or later we'd have Calvo back together with Mossman. They had to battle it out to find a way through. And as Oliver said, he had to go 2 wheels, send her up over top of the curbing to be able to get through.
Yeah, there was no doubt right there. Neither one of those 2 drivers was going to give any bit more than they would anyone else. They were going to drive each other probably about the hardest they would drive anyone else on the racetrack here as the many drivers work their way towards the turn number 5 complex here. Jeremy Fletcher, obviously a wild final lap for everybody. For him, going from way outside the top 5 back into the top 5, and then after that heroic drive, ended up P2. He's caught up with Kendall Hedge. Jeremy?
Jeremy, you really had to work for the second place finish there. Walk us through that race as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, the first, honestly, 3 quarters, we were definitely low on pressure. I was kind of just waiting for it to go in, and then we came in the last couple of laps, tried to salvage. I know I was battling Alex for the championship, and he got hung out wide one of the corners. Not saying I'm happy he didn't finish great, but it was definitely good for us in the championship, so I'm happy with the result. Didn't get the win, but we're good for the championship.
Yeah, for the championship, you kind of knew where Alex had to be to finish there. How did you make sure you were ahead to get ahead in the championship?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was definitely scared at the start. I fell back almost straight away, maybe half straight away, and then it came in, and we started picking off one by one once they started battling, and we got there at the right time, I guess.
How do you think your momentum is going to carry over into tomorrow?
Definitely know we got a fast go-kart, so that's always helpful. Definitely watch me next 30 coming from the back, hoping for the best.
All right, well, sounds good, and good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, and back to the booth, guys.
Xander, it's interesting, right? For a guy like Jeremy Fletcher, who we've seen, through his junior career get better and better, get that maturity, that poise, able to win, a couple of Super Nationals, sweeping last year there, then come out here as one of those rock star juniors, roll in to become a fantastic rookie senior. To get that understanding where, man, the car was just not good at the start, but I got to understand that you got to have the belief that it's going to come in later in the race. He said that. He was nervous the way it was at the start. Finally, it started coming in right at the right time for him to be able to get in there. Had they not battling, it might have been not the best timing, but he had to have the belief that it was going to come in, not to make dumb mistakes out there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he had, and again, like he said there, I mean, he seemed just as calm after a second-place result as he did when he was on top of the box in the pre-final, and as he did when, he's had some rougher days. I think keeping himself mentally neutral is the biggest key for both himself and Alex Stanfield, for both of them, as we've talked through them throughout the day. They seem to have kind of stayed right in the middle, not too excited, not too down on themselves, and that right there is a testament that they both are championship-caliber drivers. As we watch up front, Keelan Harvick continues to show the way. Jack Iliff has worked his way up into second. And you talk about Rockstar Juniors, how about this kid here? Parker DeLong is down at the Avinco Tire tent, and a wild introduction to KA Senior action here for Parker DeLong.
Thanks, Xander. Parker DeLong, P3, a podium for today, and granted you had a rough morning. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, feeling real good. Got P3 in the main, so we're going to try to go get some more next 30.
What is your prediction for X30?
We finally got the car right, so we'll see. Starting 13th, I think, so try to get at least top 5.
It was a bloodbath out there in KA. Were there any moments where you're like, oh crap, I'm scared?
It was a little sketchy at the end here. Adams jumping, Mossman hitting his head, so that was a little freaky, but that's just racing.
Are you changing anything before tomorrow to hopefully get to the top step?
Cart's pretty dialed. I think we'll just go for it. My dad's got the cart pretty set up, so we'll just send it and see what we got.
Thanks, Parker.
Yes.
Xander, at this level of competition, that's what it is, right? Everybody's carts are almost exactly where they need to be. You can tweak here and find a little bit more. Here's the go-kart, guys. Go at it. All 6 of you guys can battle it out. Whoever's going to come on top, maybe it gets the right strategy, whatever it may be. It really comes down to the driver at one point.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's no different than what we're watching right now here in Mini-Swift. Any of these 5 kids, it looks like, in this lead group here, from Keelan Harvick to Jack Iliff to Michael McCoy, Asher Oxtein, Ty Fisher, all of them have at one point held the lead or held the top 2 spots, and it's okay. You're good enough to fight for the win, and very rarely, at the level that we race at here, coast to coast, national, international competition, super national competition, are you able to have a piece that is just head and shoulders above everybody else, especially with the idea of having team racing here where someone's going to get a full look at your data and get the idea of what setup you're running. Ryan Norberg might be the one kind of driving the force and doing the coaching under RPG, but at the end of the day, that means Hayden Jones and Paul Bocuse, they got the same tools he has to go fast. So all you can ask for is a piece to fight with. Looks like Parker DeLong feels like he's got that for tomorrow.
Yeah, Jack Iliff making a move, I believe, right there to go to the lead as he's been able to slide by. Harvick's right in there as well. Michael McGahey, as we said. Asher Oxtein in there. Ty Fisher. Tyler Roberts there as well. Lucas Palacio, who I had said started deep in the field in 20th, has the fast lap of the race, a 1:11.581. 2 seconds off the leader right now, but right there with Tyler Roberts to try to see if they can't work their way up. They're in that next group essentially right now. Top 5 drivers separated by 0.6 of a second. Then it's Roberts and Palacio right there as well, along with Isaac Malkit.
Yeah, Isaac Malkit there at least good recovery. Again, we go back to his big-time spin at the end of the pre-final, was running really, really good. Unfortunately here, with the way everything shuffled out, he's still down quite a few spots from the drop of the green flag. So he's working his way back up, looking for a little bit more. Derek Wargo, 9th, dropped back 2 spots. Let's look at some of the other drivers that have moved up the order. Tristan Murphy, that unfortunate end along with Gage Bailey in their pre-main. They're up 13 and 14, or 12 and 14 positions. Bailey right now is second in line in that second group. This trailing these leaders as we see them get together there at the end of the pack. Malkett now making it 8, like you said, and that was, I believe, Michael McCoy and potentially Tyler Roberts kind of coming together. Hard to say. I mean, they're all still going at it through turn number 5.
Yeah, indeed. And the guys at the tail of the field turning their fastest laps right now. Those last 8, Tyler Roberts, Lucas Palacio, and Isaac Malkin are now kind of working their way in here now. These guys are all putting their heads down. You can see that Palacio's now worked his way up to P5. Top 8 drivers come across the line within 1.2 seconds. That's the fight we have up front right now. Everybody trying to make hay, getting themselves forward now and working their way into a position. There's another pass there for Palacio. Lucas Palacio has got himself now up into the 4th position. What a great drive so far for Palacio, right there with Axel Rockstein.
Yeah, right there as they go through the grid corner here. 13 over to 14. 8 laps to go. 8 laps completed in the 16-lap main event for Mini Swift, and it is still anyone's game, anyone's day here this afternoon. Like you said, what a drive from Palacio so far. I mean, after the penalty he got there at the end of that pre-final to come through the field and make it look like it was nothing, he's right back where he needs to be.
Yeah, indeed he is. And there's lots of time still. We're just at the halfway point now, 8 laps down with 8 to go. You can see that Keelan Harvick has worked his way back to the lead. Look at Ilef trying the outside line. Not going to stick over there. And it's still Harvick holding the spot through turn number 6 into 7 and 8. There goes Palacio. Actually, there's contact there. 2 drivers coming out of 7. Some contact further back. And I think that was Ockstein, who had some trouble and has fallen to the tail. He got sandwiched between 2 drivers, kind of popped up in the air a bit, fell back. This has given Harvick a chance to get away a little bit, but Ilef and Palacio, 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, golden opportunity here for Keelan Harvick to pull further away from the pack. Jack Ilef, nice move there on Lucas Palacio, instantly puts a little bit of a gap on him. Isaac Malkett, good run through here. Again, he's only a year into the mini class as well, so you got a lot of youngsters that could have another season or 2 in them, or 3 if you're Lucas Palacio. So a lot of potential for great racing if they stay how they are here today. I mean, we are in for plenty of years of great action, and that's going to go all the way up the ladder with everything they do.
Yeah, Lucas Palacio could easily have stayed in the micro class last year, and he would have been the dominant driver. I think he's just that good. He's got such a good head and the shoulders, a lot of talent, good actual racecraft as well. Wanting to move up to kind of stay with Harvick and stay with all the guys that he's been racing with. They're all moving forward. He did the same thing, and like you said, he could be here in this mini class for 3 more years. Palacio is a very talented young driver, and he's already mid-season now. You're going to see for the rest of this season, he's going to be up there all the time because now it's not like he's a rookie anymore, right? He's almost essentially in that second half of the season, and we're seeing great things out of him already.
I will say here, again, I heard someone say after the lunch break, or during the lunch break, that man Palacio was, not determined to let Ilef stay on the outside of him, and obviously it looked like he got a penalty, which put him all the way down the order to start back in the 20th position. But I was impressed because Lucas Palacio, being the younger kid around the generation that he's at, even just a year or 2 at a crucial developmental time for all these young drivers' lives, it's easy to kind of get intimidated by the bigger kids and let them push you around a little bit. And in that pre-final, for the first time in really, out of most of the races I've seen, I saw Lucas Palacio be the most aggressive out of all the drivers in the lead pack. And I was like, okay, you know what? He might get a penalty for it, but he probably earned their respect where they won't want to push him because they know that he'll push back. As we see Tyler Roberts go down the inside of Isaac Malkett. So to see that, that's kind of the last little puzzle piece I think he needed, because we've seen Lucas Palacio put purple lap times together and everywhere we go and do an aggressive move like that. Wow! 3 wide and still around the outside. Palacio to second. Harvick gets swallowed. Jack Ilef, your new leader here with 6 to go.
And with the contact, he goes to the outside of the 3 wide. Driver together. That's Malkett off, indeed.
Oh, man.
Isaac Malkett's gone off the racetrack. Contact, I wonder with he potentially and Roberts. Yep. That is Tyler Roberts involved with Malkett. That was the battle for 4th and 5th. Here's back onto the lead battle right now. Ilef leads. There is Palacio running second. And again, 3rd spot is Harvick. Here comes Is that McGoy now potentially
Yeah.
working his way up here now? Michael McGoy in the number 161. It's a couple of new players coming into the tail of this group as well, with Ty Fisher still in there and Asher Ockstein.
Yeah, we've got some new ones. And look, don't look now. Gage Bailey, 15 spots gained, only a little ways back from that group with Malkett out. Bailey is getting there, or at least he's up to 7th. He's only half a second away from the end of this group to make it 7 drivers back in the lead group once again. Derek Wargo is 8th. Ashton Moon is 9th. Tyrone Kemper Jr. Remember, he had a terrible start to the day. He's kind of slowly cut his way up the grid. Had a great run in the pre-final. He's cracked the top 10 now in the 141. As up front, more contact. They all bottleneck behind Jack Iliff. Palacio, Harvick all kind of got tripped up in the braking zone.
Yeah, top 5 drivers trying to see if they can't settle in and maybe pull away. That's Ty Fisher back to P5. A little bit of a gap back to Ockstein, but not a ton. You can see it there. Maybe 7 or 8 cart lengths as they work their way back over again to turn number 10 through the 11-12 combo here. 10 is the right-hand cell tower corner. This is his double apex left-hander. 11 and 12. Through 13, back to 14, 15, 16. The final combination of corners here now, and it's Jack Iliff back up front. What a career it's been for Iliff so far. A couple of Micro Swift championships. Second last year in Mini, looking to try to grab his 3rd championship in 4 years on Superkart's Pro Tour competition. He is in the middle of a good scrap here now and leads the way with 4 to go.
Yeah, Jack Iliff now under pressure. Harvick will go by for the lead. Iliff going to look to answer back. Gets to 2nd. Harvick's going to block the inside through turn number 3. He knows they're all right there. They are tucked up behind the Hunt Brothers Pizza. Harvick racing Parolin. Parolin's 1 and 2 in the Villeneuve cart right there in 3rd. Look at Palacio trying the outside again. Tries to run the top side. Not going to get through. In fact, he'll lose a spot in the process. McGoy gets through. Side by side behind him there as it looks like Ockstein and Gage Bailey go at it for 6th. All the while, Harvick still leads them towards the cell tower with 3.5 laps remaining.
Top 7 crossed the line, 1.3 back. You can see them here battling each other, 3 wide, 2 wide. Everybody throwing everything at it here right now. Harvick's been shuffled back to, I think, 5th right now, as in indeed is Iliff back out front. Ty Fisher on the Villeneuve works his way now up into P2. Palacio was 3rd, then 5th. Now back to 3rd. Tons of action here right now. Ockstein throwing it now to the inside of Harvick as well. Asher Ockstein now up into the 6th position, or 5th position. 6th is going to be Harvick, and 7th is Gage Bailey. Long way to go still here. 3 laps, and these guys are racing tooth and nail.
Down the inside, turn number 3. For the first time in a hot minute, we've got a way different leader than Iliff, Harvick, or Palacio. It is Ty Fisher to the lead. Palacio 2nd, McGoy into 3rd. What a shakeup here with 2.5 laps remaining, Rob.
Ty Fisher, the Race Lab driver, the TB Kart USA importer for North America, the TB Kart chassis, as well as the Villeneuve chassis, the Jacques Villeneuve chassis, former Indy 500 winner and Formula 1 champion. He is running in that 2nd spot as Palacio has gone back to P1. So Palacio, remember, started all the way back in 20th. He is now P1. What a great drive for Palacio. Will it last? Everybody else ready to fight him out as the guys are battling back in here once again.
I don't think it could have come at a better time. We're going to see the 2 to go signal this time by Lucas Palacio, Michael McGoy, Jack Iliff. 1, 2, 3. Little gap back as off the racetrack goes Ty Fisher. He was side by side with Keelan Harvick going into the corner. I think Harvick, maybe Fisher didn't think Harvick was alongside, thought he might have backed out. At the end of the day, later, Ty Fisher, you will not be a part of this one here at this rate, unfortunately, because with the dirt on the tires and crossing the line, 2.5 back, he's out. The top 3 with a little gap as Palacio goes center track into 3.
Indeed, Fisher going to fall back to 7th position and well back. 2 groups of 3 drivers here right now. Palacio, McGoy, and Iliff, 1, 2, 3. Harvick, Ockstein, and Bailey.
Ooh.
There we go again, side by side. This time it was McGoy trying for it, didn't quite hold it, and that has now put Palacio and Iliff back to 1 and 2.
So, yeah, Lucas Palacio back to the lead with Iliff there. The good news for the rest of the group with McGoy dropping back, it kind of links them back up again. And Palacio continues to defend down to the inside in the cell tower. Look at Harvick all the way onto the grass there. Gets into McGoy as McGoy runs him low. And around the outside of Harvick trying to get by is going to be Gage Bailey. He can't complete the move. Harvick hangs on to 4th, and that'll kind of stunt their progress back to the lead. Look at Iliff. Late move. Got there to the inside before Palacio could fully close him off. Nonetheless, he backs out. Everyone's all over the place. Look at Iliff again. Gets into him. Here comes Gage Bailey. McGoy, Harvick, white flag in the air.
Oh, it's heating up right now here in the mini Swift category. It's a big lead right now for Palacio. Everybody else trying to line up behind him. What's going to happen? Palacio's going to be able to run through here. Big dive to the bottom of the racetrack. No, Palacio, a nice wide arc coming out of there. Harvick's worked his way up into 2nd position. In 3rd is Oxtein right now. Somehow Harvick working his back to P2.
Harvick and Oxtein made about 3 checks back behind them to make sure they could open up for the corner because they knew that was the only way they could get to Palacio. They could not afford to have to defend right there, and they didn't have to. So Harvick is closing in. Palacio is not safe yet. Look at this gaggle further back. Jack Iliff has fallen all the way into the clutches at the edge of the top 10. That's your championship leader. Back up front. The leaders are going to the cell tower, into the corner. Harvick not going to get by. Palacio covers it, but he's going to lose the spot on the exit.
So it's Harvick back to the lead. These two drivers ran Micro Swift last year. They're trying to see if they can't win here. Harvick is fun somehow. Worked his way back to the front. Some great maneuvering. Here comes Palacio. He'll try to throw it at him on the final lap. They'll work their way back in. Palacio not close enough. Can he dive it down into turn number 16? He cannot. And Keelan Harvick will win in Mini Swift. Harvick the winner by 0.2 of a second. Palacio up 18 positions from 20th. Lucas Palacio ends up in 2nd. Asher Oxtein in the 3rd spot. Michael McGoy in 4th. Jack Iliff 5th. What a battle up front. Johnny Stamps in 6th. Some drivers falling back. Ty Fisher ends up falling into 8th after leading for a time with only a couple laps to go. Johnny Stamps in 6th. Max Christia up 11 spots from 18th to 7th. Fisher, Woon, and Kemper round out the top 10 championship-wise. Jack Iliff P5 and Gage Bailey, the driver he was battling, somehow falls down to 13th on the final circuit.
Yeah, man. Unfortunate for Gage Bailey after such a great drive forward. Again, from 24th on the grid, he was all the way up into the top 5 again, battling for 5th and 6th, ends up shuffling back. And then Palacio blocked the inside in the cell tower. He just missed a little bit of the entry of it, but caught the exit. Harvick with a fantastic crossover, got clear. And I think from there, he just kind of carried the momentum because Palacio could never get close in the final 3 corners. Either way, Parallel USA, presented by Mini Swift, once again, putting on an awesome show. And they are preluding the first of our 2 headline class main events. Pro Shifter is coming your way. Can anyone stop former world champion, potential SKUSA Pro Tour champion, or champion to be? If he can really lock out another perfect day, it would almost put him fully out of reach. It might put him fully out of reach looking into tomorrow with the drop round coming from Utah. Marian Kremers leads your field off with Hunter Pickett and Kyle Wick and the rest of the pack trying to find a way to him. That'll be all right after this.
How you doing? My name is Mike Doty from Mike Doty Racing from Orange County, New York. We're about an hour north of New York City. We're a full-service kart shop that we supply IAME, Rotax, and all rock engines. We sell OTK parts and all the tires for all the different series. We support USPKS, SKUSA, Rotax, which is the Stars and Stripes, and the Rock Winter Tour. What we do is we try to get the drivers better by data, driver coaching, and setup. We have a lot of good drivers that come through our program. We have a lot of experience. I've been doing it for almost 35 years, and we just try to translate that to all our customers.
For more info about Mike Doty Racing, you can contact us at mikedoty@gmail.com or call us at 845-551-0572.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Castle Motorsports Park. Getting set to go here right now with our Pro Shifter. I want everybody to know, those of you at home, you probably can't smell this right now, but Mike Adams and Tom Kutcher, everybody here for the track at SKUSA, they're doing a tri-tip dinner tonight with scalloped potatoes, I think, I'm being told. Drivers and mechanics. Starts at 6 o'clock for everybody. This is the tri-tip right now. Xander's already into it.
I couldn't tell myself, man. This stuff smells so... Yeah, this is good.
I'll get out of that in a bit. Yeah, we got races coming up right now. We have our Pro Shifters rolling on track. But yeah, so if you're trackside right now, drivers and mechanics, 6 o'clock, dinner made by Mike Adams and Tom Kutcher and everybody over there. So a great tri-tip dinner. This is textbook Supercarts USA. Tom used to do this all the time, so very cool to have a bunch of tri-tip. I know there's a lot of hungry people in the booth here.
Yeah,
they're not going to get at this real quick.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be here by the time the Pro Shifters are done. I think we're going to be messed up. So I'm glad I got two pieces in.
That's right.
Pass it off to the hard-working broadcast team. We're going to go trackside here. They have just cleared the racetrack off, and we are almost ready for Pro Shifter presented by PSL Karting. We'll send it down to Jenna Tommy. She's got a quick report for us here about some of our top guys.
Danny Formal briefly earlier about how his weekend debut on RPG is going in Shifter, and he said it's good. The kart seems to be awesome. It's a great weekend for him. Obviously, he isn't showing the exact same results as we've seen in the past, but that is to be expected when you're fresh on a new team. The only thing he said was was being difficult was his speed in the straights. So we're about to see how it all plays out.
Thank you, Jenna. Of course, that's, the biggest storyline here coming into the weekend is Danny Formal and the RPG Cosmic together for the very first time. And what hopefully will be a very happy marriage over the next however long, maybe a couple of seasons. At the bare minimum here, it's set what looks to be for the Summer Nationals, and I'm sure this is just as much a warm-up as it is for Justin Kelly and Master Shifter, as it is for hopefully Danny Formal and Rollison Performance Group looking towards Supernats 25. And we know we're going big for Supernats 25. We're going big with the tri-tips for the Summer Nationals, so hopefully we can back up the level of badassery that Supernats 25 is going to have to call for. Let's go to the starting lineup here for PSL Karting Pro Shifter Marian Kremers. Perfect day in the making here, at least almost. Nearly got past and ultimately did get past by Hunter Pickett on the opening lap. Kind of got spooked by it as he talked in the post-race interview. Hunter Pickett and the Jim Weed PSL Karting Barrel Art will start on the outside of row number 1. Kyle Wicks Track Magic for GFC Karting. He's got an outside shot at the title. He needs a bad main event here for Marian Kremers. He rolls off to the inside of the other driver involved in the title fight, AJ Myers, looking to retain that national number 1 plate, but every session that goes by with the 296 on the top of the boards makes it less and less likely. Jake French and Billy Musgrave will make up row number 3, with Jacob Gulick and Danny Formal rolling off on row 4. David Greco and Talon Yockel will be row number 5 to round off your top 10. Then you go down the order to find some more names here, some of them making their first Pro Tour start of the season. Andy Rule, Jordan Musser. Then we've got, Josh Conker and Andy Rule, row 6. Jordan Musser, Ayrton Hernandez, Andrew Bordishow, the top 15. Rookie Michael Costello. And on down to the back of the field, Gabriel Coward, Charlie Steins, Philip Niemkowicz, then Victor Jimenez, Jonathan Vitolo, and of course, big story, P22 for Hannah Greenemeyer to roll off after the issue with Bordishow in the pre-final.
Yeah, keep an eye out for the number 208 of Hannah Greenemeyer to work her way back forward. She has the speed. We saw her in qualifying. An issue with Mendoza, as we had said, so trying to work back forward. Marian Kremers and Hunter Pickett starting on the pole. We're off. Green, green, green. Main event for Pro Shifter as they'll fire their way down into turn number 3. If you're any of these drivers up front, you've almost got to do whatever you can to get in front of Kremers right now. You can't give him open racetrack. Remainder of the field further back, diving their way down into turn number 5. Kremers out cleanly with probably 2 to 3 kart lengths. We'll see how it plays out. Cleanly over top right now. Drivers settling in. A.J. Myers now into the second spot. Xander, pretty good start overall for the drivers here in Pro Shifter.
Yeah, great start for A.J. Myers. Got to third by turn number 1 at the hole shot mark and then was able to get by Hunter Pickett at the end of the straightaway. So he was the driver that took the fight to A.J. Myers. We remember how that ended Saturday in Salt Lake City. They came together, and both of them ended up losing out on the day. And that, of course, was the day Kyle Wick broke through and got himself back into victory lane on the SKUSA Pro Tour. We're watching them work their way through the opening lap here. Myers already putting a gap on Hunter Pickett. And we look at the other drivers that could challenge Marion Kremers. Well, Jake French had the fastest lap of the pre-final. He's got a better start than where he was there. Here he comes, looking for third. He's on the bumper. Wait for it. Turn 3, inside. Down the inside for third. Pickett's going to make him earn it. He does. Oh, and he gets over top. Pickett nearly up and over the rear bumper of Jake French, and Kyle Wick pays the price.
Yeah, it was like 3 drivers all nose to tail right there. I'm not sure that whether Pickett was just trying to get right rolling in behind, got caught up a little bit. Wick was back on the throttle trying to do the over-under to a certain extent, and Pickett was just jammed up in the middle, popped up in the air. And you know there's a good possibility that pushback bumper could be down. We'll see what happens there with him. But again, as Xander had said, the big loser in that was Wick, who had to get well off the throttle as you come onto the front straightaway, or the straightaway between 3 and 5. Big one for him. He lost probably 3 or 4 spots.
I will say here, Danny Formal looks like he's got a strong start going. Said he was looking for a little bit more pace here in the main than what he had in the pre-final. He's on the bumper of Factory Carts, Billy Musgrave in the Musgrave Racing entry. Musgrave on the bumper of Pickett as they go through the final few corners. Here they come onto the front straightaway. 2 complete. Marion Kremers pulled 2/10 on A.J. Myers by the end of the lap there. Myers, a 103.27. Kremers, a 103.07. Jake French, Hunter Pickett, Billy Musgrave, again, your top 5. And then this is the battle. Look at this. Musgrave outside looking. Can he get down the inside on Pickett? This time he does not. Pickett goes low and kind of holds him back.
Yeah, Musgrave doing a great job. The chassis he designed and built himself, the factory cart machine, and always been really strong on the brakes. And, Musgrave rather doing whatever he can to get by. He needs to slip through here pretty soon because they're stacking up behind Musgrave. It's Formal, Wick, Gulick, Yockel, and Bedozo to cap off your top 10 right now. Otherwise, Marion Kremers 0.7 of a second out on A.J. Myers and just stretching away. The open track right now from Kremers as he looks to put the lock on the championship here for PSL Karting in Burrell. And that's an interesting thing. You look at the championships we've had over the last couple of years with Magic Kart, whatever it may be, in this pro category, Xander. Burrell looked good to be very happy to get back on top of the box championship-wise. Not just racing, but for a SKUSA Pro Tour championship.
Yeah, that could be massive for them here as we see Pickett. He's got the entire line up behind them here in this long 18-lap main event. They are stacked up about 8 or 9 deep here behind him. Here comes Kyle Wick to the inside of Danny Formal. He'll get through, goes a little bit deep, trying to make some room for Jacob Gulick to go through. You talk about chassis manufacturers. Wick was doing what he could to get Gulick by, but Danny Formal, the experience of the big man, able to just lose 1 spot in the exchange and then kind of keep Gulick at bay in the next corner. Here they go, Cell Tower. Gulick not close enough to go down the inside there. He's just ahead of Talon Yockel, who is running Andrew Boydeshow, who had a good start, then a terrible start, and then kind of got going again there in the 10th position.
Kyle Wick in the yellow and black track magic machine has been able to work his way by, as we had said, so he is up into 6th spot. It'll be Billy Musgrave up next for Wick if he's able to make that happen, but Musgrave doing exactly the same thing, trying to find a way by Hunter Pickett as Kremers and Myers out front cleanly. You can see a big enough gap there between Musgrave and Wick. It's about a half a second, and everybody in the top 6 turning their fastest laps. You go back to Formal, got passed on that lap, so not surprising he did not go green, but everybody else, their quickest laps here on lap number 4. Not surprising. Marion Kremers with the purple lap with a 1:02.184. What may be even more striking than that is the fact that he was almost a half a second faster on the lap last time by from A.J. Myers. Kremers, former world champion, Xander settling in nicely.
Yeah, he's doing a great job here for his first time to this racetrack in a gearbox, only his second time running here ever. Marion Kremers is doing a phenomenal performance, running double duty here. You can say maybe that's a bit of an advantage. Obviously had to have the physical stamina to put up with it, but Jake French is the best of the rest right now, and he's still 2.5 tenths off him, and French and Myers a lot of laps around here, obviously. So for them, already 4, make it 5 laps in. The gap, 2.3 seconds back to A.J. Myers. He gives up another 4/10 last time by. Hannah Greenemeyer a little bit quicker. She does have fresher rubber than everybody else with the crash in the pre-final, but Big shout out to the Colorado native. 10 spots gained from 22nd to 12th so far. She's into this group we're watching right here with Kyle Wick, Danny Formal. That's about 5th, 6th on back to where Greenemeyer is in the 12th position.
Yeah, Hannah having a good run now. Started at the tail of the field in 22nd, has been digging in hard. She's 1.2 back from Greco, but last time by quicker by about 7/10 of a second. So maybe 2-3 laps to be able to get to Greco. And there's lots of time still. We're only 5 laps in to this 18-lap contest. Still with 3 more races on the docket for the remainder of the day. We've got X30 Junior, Masters Shifter, and of course X30 Senior to cap off the day. And up front, you're seeing potentially these 2 drivers. Kremers is off in the distance, but Myers and French are 2 drivers who have been battling it out for supremacy in American shifter kart racing for the last handful of years. Both these drivers back and forth, P1, P2 in the rankings, in the championship, whatever it may be. And we're seeing some pretty good running here for the PSL guys and Burrell Large. You got to wonder how much of an impact Xander Kremers has had on this program on the whole. Mark French has been providing them with lots of information, data on what he would like within the chassis in terms of getting it as the best they could for the Avincos. Everything's going in the right direction. That's kind of what we got yesterday during our tent talk from Jordan Musser. He said he struggled a bit with the older Burrell Art, but the new one, he just really likes the way it drives. And we're seeing it with Kremers up front and French and Pickett. Burrell Art right now, 1-3-4.
Yeah, they look really, really strong here. And again, A.J. Myers, while he did get away early, a good opening couple laps where it looked like he might have something for Marian Kremers, that's kind of faded. He is the 4th fastest driver on the circuit. Actually make it 5. Kyle Wick was quicker last time by as well. Myers right now at a 102.29. I mean, he is still, in second and should be able to hold on to a top 5 safely, but he's far from fast enough to be one of the top 5 drivers, even top 3 drivers here this weekend. And now Jake French coming to the bumper, looking for second down the inside, overshoots it there, and hello, A.J. Myers back to P2.
Yeah, you know what? That could work on some drivers, but not A.J. Myers. He kind of threw it in there, parked it, and tried to get the thing to rocket out of the corner, and it's just not going to work. Myers saw it coming, checked up, rolled it back in, got the thing to rotate, and got back on the throttle quickly. That was super good racing there for both Myers and French. These 2 drivers, like I said, have been battling out for many, many years, so awesome to see the respect there. But I'll tell you, it just shows what's going on with Burrell right now. They are lining up to potentially go 1-2-3. I have a feeling here right now because French and Pickett both are quick. And although Myers turned his fastest lap at a 102.268 last time by, both French and Pickett were quicker.
Yeah, they definitely are stacking up here behind Myers, like how we saw everyone stacking up behind Hunter Pickett early on here. Once Pickett got rolling, he's been looking pretty good. Now, again, these guys need to make work of Myers before the pack behind them starts to make work of them. Billy Musgrave is looming. Kyle Wick is looming. Both of them were running lap times equal to that of Pickett and French before they arrived on the scene. So now you got 5 drivers battling for second onwards as we watch Marian Kremers down the road. He's pulled away, and here we go, battle for third. Jake French unable to get the job done on A.J. Myers. Hunter Pickett going to go by him, and now Kyle Wick takes advantage of a little misshift for French that backs up Billy Musgrave.
Yeah, that wasn't Musgrave's fault at all. Obviously, coming out of that corner, French had to give it up a little bit. That backed up Musgrave, and Wick running around the outside. Great move down to the bottom. Now he's going to muscle his way by Jake French. So French, who was getting ready to potentially go to P2, now finds himself back in the 5th position as a couple of drivers have roughed him up after getting caught up a little bit. French trying to hold on to the spot right now with Musgrave right behind him. Greenmeyer's coming, though. We're going to keep an eye on Hannah Greenmeyer as well. She was able to get by David Greco to work her way up into the 11th position, make that 10th now, and she's got her way by Andrew Bedozo. So Greenmeyer now up into P10.
Yeah, Hannah Greenmeyer, what a great performance here in the main, making up for it. She was the fastest driver on the racetrack last time by about 0.3 of a second with the help of it all. 8 laps to go. Next time by, Kyle Wick. Having gotten by, Jake French hasn't been able to do much with it since, so I think French might try to get back around him here sooner rather than later. He's got Musgrave lurking in the distance, and again, Hannah Greenmeyer is on the way forward to all these guys, along with Talon Yockel. Yockel, even that time by, was a little bit quicker than the group, so all of them, the more they fight and the more than then they can't really do anything with it, it just kind of backs them up and brings more into it. When that pass is made and then no real change in the level of pace of the pack, you're just backing that pack up further and further. 8 laps to go this time by. Marian Kremers' lead continues at 4 seconds.
Indeed, watching the fight up front, 4-second gap, 4.018 for Marion Kremers. Both Wick and French turning their fastest lap, so they have got things rolling right now in a big way. Watching them all work their way forward here. Wick, French, Musgrave, Formal a little further back. Still wondering whether or not Greenmeyer could get a little further forward. Last time by, she was 2/10 quicker than Jacob Gulick. That would be for 8th position, so she continues to push. But up front, we're seeing the great run here for Kremers. But A.J. Meyer's really settling in right now. The fast times aren't as quick as everybody else. He hasn't yet done a 101 like Wick and French did, but he's got himself a half a second lead over Pickett still.
He is super consistent right now, and that's what's, again, saving him. Like you said, Rob, he's not got outright pace. He is multiple tenths off of where he needs to be, where he wants to be. He's 3/10 off of Marion Kremers, 2 to 3/10 off everybody else, but he is consistently exactly at that time. Last time by, only 300 slower than the previous lap, and as a whole, he's been right at that 102 flat 10th bracket with, give or take, 500. So A.J. Myers being that consistent is making it where the guys behind, they can put one good lap together. They can't put multiples back to back, and that's what's, again, just got him that little bit of a cushion, little couple car length gap. The only guy that was able to take a shot at him was Jake French, and he locked the rears up, and Myers was able to over under him.
7 laps still to go. Greenmeyer still coming. She's within 0.3 of a second of Jacob Gulick and only a half a second back of Danny Formal. Last time by, she was a half a second faster than Danny Formal. She's at the tail of that group. You just saw crest the hill. So she's working her way forward here right now. Otherwise, Kremers out by 4.3. Myers with that half second over Pickett. Then they're all lined up. Pickett, Wick, French, and Musgrave. Formal right there as well with Gulick. So everybody lining up behind A.J. Myers right now. But as we have said, he's been super consistent, knocking out these 102.2s. Just 102.2s. Other drivers up and down, but A.J. just knocking out the laps, showing the consistency. It's not a race-winning pace right now. Another 102.2. Everybody else behind him potentially doing the same thing. And again, Greenmeyer, as we said, further back, 9th position, up 13th spots onto the bumper of Jacob Gulick.
Yeah, heck of a drive here. And again, Gulick, a lot of experience. You're talking former teammates right there between Jacob Gulick and Hannah Greenmeyer. As here comes Gulick, looking on the inside of the big man, Formal, who runs him low. And unfortunately, Formal's going to pay for it as Greenmeyer is able to get underneath him. And now she goes on Gulick. And look at that. That was an experienced move from a driver on her second Pro Tour shifter race, and only a handful of shifter starts prior to that.
And that was taking advantage of Gulick not really knowing that she was there. He had made the move by Formal, probably like, I got this, got Formal. Came in and opened the door just enough, trying to open up the entry into turn number 7. Hannah tossed it down in there and took full advantage of the situation. So she has now gone into 7th spot. Hannah Greenmeyer to 7th. 6 laps to go. She'll put the target on the bumper and the back of that white helmet of Billy Musgrave.
Kyle Wick is now on the bumper of Hunter Pickett. This is the fight for the podium here in terms of fighting for that second spot in the championship. He needs as many points as he can to either get for himself or take away from A.J. Myers. He's 1 car length back here from Pickett's PSL Barrel Art. And as they go for the scoreboard corner, turn number 5, Pickett, on the other hand, gets a good launch, and all of a sudden gets new life to try and chase A.J. Myers once again. And you can see Jake French also still right there. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all with 2 car lengths apiece there between each other. 5 laps to go.
Kremers, Myers, Pickett, Wick, and French top 5. Musgrave 6th, Greenmeyer 7th, Gulick 8th, Formal 9th, and Yockel in 10th spot. And again, coming further back in the pack, some drivers trying to get forward. Up a couple of spots for Vitolo, up a couple of spots for Mendoza, but the guys up front, they're really the big one we're watching is Greenmeyer. Up 15 positions, and she is starting to close here on Musgrave. Well, look as they come across the line. Let's have a look at lap times. Kremers goes purple with a 1:01.7. Myers turns his fast lap a 1:02.1. Greenmeyer, 0.2 faster, over 0.2 faster than Billy Musgrave, a half a second back. She's closing up to potentially go to P6 as well.
Yeah, she definitely could get there before the checkered flag flies here with just half a second left and 4 laps to go. So we'll keep a close eye on that as we watch the podium fight continue to develop. It seems like it's gotten a little bit tighter. Myers set his best lap of the race last time by. Pickett matched him, Wick matched him, French matched him. They were all within 200s. Little mistake, though, from Pickett. Brings Kyle Wick close enough. He's going to look. Not enough to pull the trigger there. He decided to hesitate, thought better of it. He stays back in line, but Pickett Little mistake coming out of the green corner, it looked like.
And they're right on A.J. Myers, too. It's not like A.J. has any kind of gap right now, even though he's turning good lap time. Still, last time by, Pickett was quicker. They've been really just chiseling away at it, a couple of hundredths of a second at a time. It's now 3 or 4 car lengths. All it takes is one big dive bomb move and a big draft potentially as Pickett trying to get the job done. But again, splitting that attention, right? The attack versus the defense, because Wick putting the pressure on Pickett as well. So this is a great battle here. Second, third, fourth, and fifth. Myers, Pickett, Wick, and French. The amount of race wins in shifter racing in all the different programs around the country for gearbox competition. These guys have a ton of them right here. I guarantee it.
Yeah, you're looking at the multi-time on the Florida side, the winter champion at A.J. Myers. On the West Coast side, Hunter Pickett.
That's it.
You go back to last year, A.J. Myers put seconds on all these guys. They've caught up to Myers, and then this year we add Marian Kremers into the mix, and the Bureau Art guys seem stronger than they have been in multiple seasons of gearbox competition. They've gotten wins, they've gotten championships. Jake French has put them up front. Jordan Musser's dominated Master Shifter, but I don't know if they've looked stronger than where they are right now. And that 3-driver power punch they've got between Hunter Pickett, Jake French, and, of course, Marian Kremers is just really, really strong.
Yeah, you look at what Musser's doing back in 13th spot as well, turning lap times around 102, 103 kind of a thing. 105, 106 rather. And he's battling with some of these other guys. 41 years of age, a Masters driver, running in the pro category, trying to dial himself in for the KZ Masters Super Cup, that world championship race they've announced for Masters drivers in KZ. He wants to go over and represent the U.S., so he's really doubling down on fitness, running with the pro shifter guys. Laps winding down low on this one. Let's have a look at it again. 4.5 seconds of lead for Marian Kremers. Battle not done for the final positions on the podium, though, Xander. It's Myers, Pickett, Wick, French, Musgrave, and potentially even Greenmeyer ready to fight it out.
Yeah, it'll be the white flag this time by Greenemeyer. You can see at the end of the frame there has caught up to Billy Musgrave. A great drive for Hannah Greenemeyer. It's not like she got a complete heat cycle clear. She got taken out early on, so a handful less laps. But even beyond that, you still have to come through the entire field, and she's done that one by one, lap by lap. White flag, 1 to go. Kyle Wick had a good run on Hunter Pickett. Is he close enough to dive bomb him into turn number 3? He's not close enough this time. Pickett closes into A.J. Myers.
Apologies to Marian Kremers for no time on TV because he has just been long gone. The battle for second, third, and fourth is awesome. You'll see Kremers pulling away there already. Final lap on the racetrack for drivers here in Pro Shifter. And A.J. Myers has been pressured all race long. First by Jake French, now by his PSL karting teammate Hunter Pickett. Pickett as well under attack here from Kyle Wick. This will be one of the final spots. Can't quite do it. Pickett running that midline defensive line. That's going to give a little bit of room here for A.J. Myers.
Yeah, that's going to give him a little bit of breathing room, all the room he needs. Going through the scale corner, through 12, through 13, popping wheelies, putting it sideways. He's got the gap to do it. Marian Kremers dominates on Saturday here in Newcastle. He is your Pro Shifter winner, and behind him, across the line, A.J. Myers did everything he could. Best of the rest. P2 for the Magic Kart driver, and it's just unfortunate, obviously, the national number 1 plate. Well, it may not be coming home to the States here at this rate. Marian Kremers putting himself just about out of reach going into Sunday, and I think he's waiting to maybe do some donuts for the crowd on the front straightaway here in front of the Long Pond section. So the 296 victorious over A.J. Myers, Hunter Pickett, Kyle Wick, Jake French. He's letting the field on go, Rob. I think we're going to get a few here. And I want to give a shout-out to David Cole on the live stream. I had some powdered donuts up here. I know he can't stand those. He's a frosted guy. He is absolutely wrong. And we're going to see some white smoke. Kind of looks like a powdered donut, in my opinion, for Marian Kremers here, I think, in just about a second as he lets the last few go on through. And there it is, your PSL Karting Pro Shifter winner here on Saturday.
Little signature there on the grid there for Marian Kremers, putting his mark on the track here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. The margin of victory, 3.6 seconds, as he backed it down over the last lap by about a second and a half. A.J. Myers, as Xander said, a really good, strong run to second. Pickett, Wick, and French top 5. Greenmeyer ends up right behind Musgrave across the line. She's up 15 spots to 7th. Jacob Gulick, Danny Formal, and Talon Yak will round out the top 10. That was some pretty good racing. Out front, dominating action there for Marian Kremers, but man, we saw a lot of the big dogs of American shifter kart racing fighting it out. second on back.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you sometimes just get days like that there. No, New Orleans was no different. Kremers was long gone. Utah, A.J. Myers and company found some speed, and then, of course, on Sunday, Kremers was right there. It was Kremers versus Myers versus Kyle Wick, all battling for the lead and the race win. So they know they've got homework to do, and they've got some of the best teams, the best power plant builders, the best chassis, and, of course, the best drivers that are going to be trying to come back and close the gap to Marion Kremers tomorrow. Big shout out, of course, again, Hannah Greenemeyer, 15 spots gain and 7th behind Billy Musgrave, Jacob Gulick, Danny Formal, Talon Yockel, your top 10. We'll talk to a number of our top finishers here after the break when we come back for more. 3 more main events to come. X30 Junior, Master Shifter, and the X30 Pro Seniors here live from Castle Motorsports Park. You're watching Car Chasers coverage of the SKUSA Pro Tour.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
It's 30 Junior here getting set for action. 18 laps presented by Rollison Performance Group. Cameron Brinkman, Aiden Ingrata, front row, looking for the green. We'll get it down to turn number 3, and we're underway. And Brinkman takes them down to the inside lane. Look at Ingrata sweep around the outside to the lead. And there's contact in the back. Jesus Vasquez Jr. off into the grass on the opening circuit.
Yeah, he got the short end of that stick. You can see him around the outside. Someone gets shuffled off into him, and away he went to the outside of the racetrack. So Vasquez will get himself back out here. But a nice run from way to the outside for Ingrata, coming from the outside of the front row. Dove it around the outside and got shot out of a cannon down the straightaway, giving himself enough of a gap as they work their way now down into turn 5, 6, 7, then back over here now to turn number 10. This is the cell tower corner, the right-hander. Flat right-hander back into the double apex lefts of 11 and 12. Drivers settling in here now, and it's a short shoot. They work their way back up here to the scale house. Coming through turns number 14, 15, and 16. Aiden Ingrata into the lead. I believe that's Caleb Gaffera sliding into the second spot. And ironically, the two drivers who are right in the middle of the championship fight as they come into this weekend. Ingrata with the lead. Caleb Gaffera in second. The gap right around where we got, I want to say 76 points, something like that, between first and second in the points. Third, Brandon Carr not here. Max Taylor and Max Garcia still with an opportunity to be in the championship fight here, but they need to have really strong weekends and see Aiden Ingrata have some issues because Ingrata, again, has that little bit of a cushion coming in. The two drivers pulling away right now, though looking good up front, are Ingrata and Gaffera. Cameron Brinkman in there as well. So again, X30 Jr., an 18-lap main event. We'll have 2 more races after this. We've got Master Shifter and X30 Senior right afterwards. And again, capping off what will be 2 full days of action. This is only round number 5 of the Pro Tour. We're back for Championship Sunday. Probably really going to get a chance to lock a championship down here today for Ryan Norberg. He has been absolutely amazing on the season. So the X30 Senior class very possibly locked down after round number 5. Of course, David Cole's got his trademark spreadsheet dialed in. We'll be able to give you unofficial championship standings as the races go on, and unofficially who's won them, and it's all said and done. But, of course, all unofficial until Supercarts USA comes out with it. Caleb Gaffera with a move down to the inside of turn number 3. Book it. He's through. Gaffera now works his way into the lead ahead of Hayden Ingrata. Right behind them, Cameron Brinkman, as I had said. Max Garcia not that far back. Stephen Miller up a couple of spots to cap off your early top 5.
While they work their way through here with plenty of time left, we've started to catch up with the pro shifter drivers that have made their way through the scale houses. Gaffera takes them into the cell tower hairpin. A.J. Myers, P2 today here, obviously was hoping for a little bit more. He's caught up down post scales.
AJ, that's a little bitter, isn't it?
Yeah, no, always want to come home first, but I think I did the best with what I had out there, so not too disappointed.
Walk me through, were there any difficult points for you in that race?
The early laps, I was really sliding around. I had a gap on the pack. They caught me up. French went for a pass about halfway through, overcooked it after that. It was just managing the gap behind me. I was thankful enough to keep the pack of 5 behind.
How's the track heating up with the all of a sudden wave of heat outside?
I mean, the track's crazy different from this morning warm-up to where we are now. It's nowhere the same. We're running a second slower lap, and you got to get the right setup for it.
Well, still a great podium and an amazing drive by you. Who do you want to thank for helping you out this weekend?
Oh, Magic Kart USA, FD engines with SRP, always have great power. My dad on the car, Robbie with Checkered, Andrew the Magic Man.
Great drive, AJ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
You know, Xander, that's the big point right now. We really haven't jumped on too much. An 18-degree swing from the start of the day. It was 62 degrees when we started qualifying earlier today. 80 degrees here trackside now. And like I said, the track is so violently different in terms of the temperature. The grip's going down as well. We know the grip's going away from the shifter kart guys as well. They knew it was going to happen. They were going to lose grip as the day went along. It's getting greasier. But, man, that's a big swing in terms of temperature.
And that's a normal thing here when we come to Castle Motorsports Park. You kind of expect it. By the time the main gets going, you're just going to be slipping and sliding, and I think that was the case for a lot of them. Obviously, AJ Myers mentioned Jake French having the attempted pass on about midway through the race. Jake French does that about maybe in the pre-final or, let's say going by someone in qualifying. Maybe he doesn't fully lock up. Maybe he has enough grip and traction and it's not so hot that he's able to just complete that pass normally. But, again, they were slipping and sliding, hanging on. And like he said, they just needed to get the setup right, and it doesn't seem like they did today. They'll go to work, see what they can figure out, and hopefully they can find some more pace tomorrow to bring the fight to Marian Kremers, as we've got quite a fight on our hands still here in X30 Junior. 14 to go. Gaffera and Ingrata just kind of working together, but they aren't pulling away. Max Garcia and Alexander Chartier, last time by, matched them stride for stride, and the previous few laps have been a little bit quicker, so they're closing up to make it a 6-car group along with Stephen Miller.
Yeah, a couple big movers here as well. Up 11 spots for Sebastian Weldon. Started 19th up into 8th, and the same went for Emma Kate Scarborough. She started 20th. They've worked their way up a couple of spots. She's into the top 10 right now, so both Weldon and Scarborough having really strong runs working forward. But we'll keep keying on this lead group of 6 drivers right now. Gaffera, Ingrata, Brinkman, Garcia, Chartier, and Miller, all within 1.4 seconds. That's the gap. You see the big cushion back into Charlie Smith, who now runs in the 7th position. Otherwise, up front, Gaffera looking good so far. No one really challenging anybody right now. They're not throwing haymakers. They're not going back and forth on each other early. Just settling in, bang out some laps here right now. We're 5 laps into 18. Still a long way to go. Here's a move for Brinkman. He wants to go to P2. He'll make it happen over in turn 7.
Yeah, he's able to do that and get through with a little bit of a gap to be made up now to Gaffera, although Ingrata is going to go back right on him, retake the 2nd spot right away. So again, Hayden Ingrata back to P2, and either way, the gap still to Caleb Gaffera is opened up. And now Brinkman loses another one. Garcia is through there for 3rd. Does Chartier go by him there? He can not get close enough into turn number 12 or 13, so he'll stay behind, and Brinkman hangs on.
Yeah, we got a lot of action here right now. Drivers, like right after I said everybody was kind of settling in, they all decided to go at it a little bit. And again, maybe it's they don't want to see the leader pull away because Gaffera does have a minor little advantage right now, but a half a second last time by. Everybody trying to kind of work their way forward, step themselves up in the order. And Grata still runs second. Not sure that Garcia liked the running back in fourth position. No, I need one more spot. Let me get a little closer. He makes the move by Brinkman after Brinkman had gone by Ingrata as well. So we're seeing a little bit of motion, a little bit more aggressive action among the front-running 5 or 6 drivers. But again, trying to drop the ones at the tail. You know, Stephen Miller now back by 7/10 himself. He was within 1.3 of the leader only a couple laps ago. Front-running guys, Xander, settling in and using that speed they've developed throughout the day.
Yeah, they're doing an awesome job at this, just kind of making moves, strategically, right? Not being over-aggressive. I mean, definitely Aiden and Grata going right back on Cameron Brinkman, but that looks calculated, and it looks like it was a decision made based on believing he has a lot more pace than Cameron. And since that move, obviously Garcia went by. Neither Garcia nor Brinkman have run back up to Ingrata's bumper. So while there have been a little bit of points of aggression throughout this X30 Junior main event, a lot of them have been kind of tactical. I don't think they've just been passing for the sake of passing or passing for the sake of their ego. They've been really trying to figure out who is best in what position to try and line themselves up for a good spot at the win. And speaking of win, let's send it on down. Marian Kremers threw us up some donuts. We got him on camera and definitely popped a few wheelies on the final lap that we were able to catch as well. And it's a big smile here for the man that now has another main event victory, 3 out of 5 on the season for Marian Kremers.
Clean sweep for the day. How are you feeling?
Very good. That race wasn't too difficult. I got a good start, great start actually. Then pushed for the first 5 laps, or about 5 laps, and then once I looked back, I had a big gap. So from then on, I was just controlling it, which was a little bit easier than I expected to be because they started fighting behind me. The whole team was very fast, though. We've been fast all week, so it's very good for tomorrow. I think we're looking good.
Yeah, you got the field tremendously. How did you keep yourself from not slowing down and keeping your laps consistent?
I was able to save my tires a little bit in the pre-final, I think, which helped me a lot in the final. So I pushed for the first 5 laps, like I said, and from then on, I was just controlling the gap. So going maybe a 10 slower than what I could have gone, but keeping it without mistakes. So that was the most important thing.
Well, congratulations on such a good day, and good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, what a fantastic drive for Marian Kremers. As Xander mentioned, 3 of 5 main event wins, taking a firm grasp on the championship. We'll see how it all plays out, of course, tomorrow, Championship Sunday, one of the titles that's pretty much locked in by the current point leader. He talked about the fact that having a bit of a gap it's able to pull away from and then kind of run his own pace. We're almost to the point that that's what Caleb Gaffera is going to see here right now. He's got a pretty good advantage here, Xander. Max Garcia's worked his way up into second, but we got a big battle, second, third, fourth, and fifth. They're kind of going at it back and forth.
Yeah, they need to find some more pace here because even with Garcia following Ingrata, he was 2/10 slower than Gaffera last time by. So that time by, Garcia and Brinkman, 2/10 slower. Again, like you said, 1.2 seconds right now. Caleb Gaffera has the advantage, the upper hand over Max Garcia and the rest of the group. Out of turn number 3 here this time. 9 laps to go, 9 laps in. We still are halfway in, so things could change. But at the same time, they may not, as there goes Ingrata. Late move with a little bit of a push from behind from Chartier. He gets 2 for 1 in the turn 5 hairpin.
Oh, Garcia right back at him over in turn number 7. So they are definitely pulling out off the gloves right now, going at it pretty aggressively. It was a big move for 2 spots for Ingrata. And then, of course, the over-under coming out of the corner. Better drive from the outside for Garcia. He tucked it back to the bottom. And at the very least, Ingrata didn't run defensive in turn 7. Had he done that this early in the race, it would have been almost over for Gaffera to be able to pull away. Yeah, he was able to get back by, but they're kind of settling back in here.
Yeah, so there we go. Through turns 13, 14, the updated gap now as they're settled back in again. They didn't lose too much. I think Gaffera either slowed down on purpose or made a mistake of his own. Either way, he's right at the cusp, so I wouldn't want to start backing off the pace just yet if I'm Caleb Gaffera.
Yeah, that feels like it. I don't know what happened to Gaffera's lap there. His best was 2 laps ago, and he did a 106.3. He just did a lap about 7/10 slower. That would have been if he would have put a magic lap down there. That would have really expanded his gap. But I'm not sure what happened with Caleb there. 107.0. all the racing they were doing, he essentially matched their pace. So, like you said, may have dropped the wheel somewhere, maybe have just missed a turn in, whatever it may be. Again, the track is getting tougher, as Marian told us. We've heard it from everybody we've talked to. It's getting greasier. It's tough to get the grip down. This temperature is really changing the feel for the track for these guys.
Here they go through the bus stop chicane. Ingrata with Brinkman. They've kind of traded that spot a little bit as Sebastian Weldon now has worked his way from the back to the front after that crazy crash. Remember, again, Sebastian Weldon was battling for the lead in the win up until the final few corners in the pre-final. And he has come all the way up, 16 spots gained to the podium, to the bumper of Max Garcia. Now looking for second. What a drive forward. You want to talk about someone that might be able to challenge Caleb Gaffera? The Hot Wheels Racing Lando Norris kart JC karting team entry might be able to do that.
No doubt about it. Weldon is on fire right now, 106.295. He turned the fast lap of the race a couple laps ago, 106.081. Now Weldon within 1.4 seconds of Gaffera and like a rocket, 106.295. Over 0.2 of a second quicker than the leader last time by 7 down, 11 to go. And I'm telling you, Weldon, who started back at 19th, is a man on a mission right now.
He is moving, and the good news for Max Garcia is with Weldon going maybe a 10th or 2 better, that's still not so much faster that Garcia can't follow him late in the draft and catch a ride up to the front to Caleb Gaffera. Last time by, again, Weldon was 0.3 better. This time by with the pass on Garcia. How much time can he gain on Gaffera? Gaffera 106.4, Weldon a 106 flat. So Sebastian Weldon was 0.4 better than Caleb Gaffera last time by. 6 laps to go. That's still enough time to get there at that rate. More than enough time he needs. He could go 0.2 a lap quicker and still arrive on the scene at the drop of the checkered flag.
Yeah, Garcia not quite as quick as Gaffera, but Ingrata, Brinkman, and Chartier all putting down their green laps, all quicker than the leader right now. Gaffera, of course, out by himself. No rabbit to chase. This is always tough for a driver. You got to put those laps down. He'll know pretty soon that he's got Sebastian Weldon coming. But we're closing in on the halfway point. Still a number of laps away. Only 6 down, 12 to go. But it's a 1.1 second lead for Gaffera. Weldon's coming right now. We'll keep watching splits. We'll keep watching these lap times. But it looks to me like Sebastian Weldon's got a great piece to work his way forward.
Yeah, he's got a great run here. Sebastian Weldon through turn number 12. How much more can he cut into the margin this time by? Max Garcia, on the other hand, he's got to worry about that group as, again, last time by, they hit their best laps of the race. They do it again this time. Chartier even goes purple overall, a 106.0. Gaffera at a 106.2 is able to at least kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, or slow the bleeding, I should say, because he still gave up 0.2 to Weldon. It's down to less than a second back from the leader to P2.
You know, you always wonder whether or not, starting deep in the field, do you go a little higher in the tire pressure, let them have some good speed, get through the slower guys in the back as quickly as possible, make it as good as you can at the start. We'll watch whether or not Weldon can keep this kind of pace through the entire 18-lap run. That's kind of the difference of it, right? 13 laps down, 5 laps to go. I went the other way around last time. We're well past the halfway point. Only 5 more laps remaining. Weldon was quicker by 0.2 of a second last time by. Gets it down to 0.9. Is this thing going to last through to the very end of the race? Chartier was quickest, a 106.0, 0.2 quicker than Brinkman. So he's got a place that he could potentially work his way into the top 5. But we're keying on the gap between first and second right now to see whether or not we're going to see a battle for the race win.
Across the line here this time by. We've got 4 laps to go. 0.7, like you said. So he would get there with a little less than 2 to go. But this time by, I think he'll be close enough to start getting the toe. Maybe even coming out of this corner right here, as we've got the back half of the lead group in frame. Cameron Brinkman trailing Alexander Chartier, Hayden Ingrata, Max Garcia, and look up the road there. You can see that he is within 4 to 5 car lengths. Sebastian Weldon is closing in to Caleb Gaffera. 3 laps to go this time by. Garcia still leading that second group. He's going to come under fire for third very soon.
Just a couple of days ago, he helped open the event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that's happening this weekend with NASCAR and IndyCar. Alexander Rossi scoring the win here today in the IndyCar race. And right now, he's trying to see if he can't back off driving that cart across the bridge. bricks at IMS with a win here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Gaffera still leading. It'll be 3 to go next time by. Gaffera pretty consistent with 103 threes or 106 threes. What does he have this time? By a 4. Weldon gets another 0.2 of a second. It is less than a half a second between Gaffera and Sebastian Weldon for the race win.
Here comes Aiden Ingrata for P3 on Max Garcia. Bumper not going to go. Turn number 3 with 3 laps to go. Ingrata stays tucked in line, so nothing there. They're 1.7 seconds back now from the top 2. It'll just be the Weldon versus Gaffera show, it looks like. Here we go. We'll pick him up to the green corner. Caleb Gaffera, a half cart length up on Sebastian Weldon, headed through the green hairpin, over towards the 2 right-hand kinks and towards the back sector. With 2.5 laps to go, Gaffera takes a quick look over the shoulder. He sees Weldon's there. Weldon knows that Gaffera knows now, and there he goes, all the way defending just a little bit into the cell tower hairpin.
Yeah, this is it. The race is on. Weldon has worked his way from deep in the field to get himself up to have a shot at it. He is right lining things up with Caleb Gaffera. It'll be 2 to go next time by. Gaffera's going to have his hands full, because that cart of Weldon not just set up for the first half of this race, it is still a rocket. In fact, Gaffera going down to a 106.6, Weldon to a 106.3. Here comes the run up the straightaway. You know there's going to be a defensive line. How much of that defense could bring Garcia and Ingrata back in? Gaffera runs the defensive line down to the bottom because championship-wise, Gaffera's in a good spot right now. The guys that he are battling with are behind him. Ingrata's back in 4th. You got to bring this thing home with at least P2.
You'd think so here, but he's battling enough that they could potentially bring them in. Weldon was signaling to Gaffera, stop blocking. You're doing it too early down the Long Pond straightaway. Now he's taking advantage of how low Gaffera went into the scoreboard hairpin. He's gone through to the lead. Yeah. Sebastian Weldon now will go on the defense mode into the cell tower corner. Gaffera tries a crossover, kind of gets tripped up. And this is, again, like you said, Rob, it's bringing those guys that Caleb Gaffera is fighting for the title into the mix here. Garcia's coming. Ingrata got tripped up a little bit with Chartier, but he's now at least within a second of the back of P2.
Down to the final lap. Gaffera's got to be smart here. He's got to keep Garcia behind him. Let's see what happens. He wants this win. White flag will fly this time by. They'll work their way out of turn number 1. I don't know that Gaffera's even going to be able to hold on to Weldon because he has had just such good speed, a couple of tenths of a second. He does, gets that draft, and it's right down to the bottom. Here comes Max Garcia. He can see it. We've seen this happen already this weekend. Garcia's there. Here goes Gaffera to the bottom of the track. Doesn't work. Garcia's going to try the outside line. Big jam. Just drives it in there. Ingrata sends it into turn number 5 and hammers him getting into the corner. Not sure what happened there with Ingrata as he just felt like it didn't even lift. He just tossed it into the inside. Contact there, both he and Garcia off the racetrack.
I mean, that was in so deep there, it looked like brake failure for Aiden Ingrata. It ripped the left side pot off Max Garcia. He's done. And now Gaffera, no chance really he can do anything. Look, the Brinkman versus Chartier. This is the last spot on the podium. Battling for P3. Final couple corners coming up for Weldon.
And Weldon out of the final corners, like you said, 14, 15, and 16. What a tremendous drive for deep in the field. Winner of our first X30 Junior race of the weekend, Sebastian Weldon. Weldon wins by 0.4 of a second over Caleb Gaffera. Alexander Chartier up onto the podium in the 772. Cameron Brinkman 4th, Elio Mesa 5th. Scroll down to Aiden Ingrata in the 9th spot, and Garcia ends up coming across the line in 12th. What a wild finish that was. Gaffera looking to the inside of Weldon, can't get it to stick. In comes Garcia around the outside, and then, look, like you said, like it could have been brake failure. That's how deep Aiden Ingrata came in, hammered the back of Max Garcia up in the air. He's lucky he didn't go over because he was way up in the air. And, of course, coming back down and continuing, ends up finishing in the 9th position. That caught me off guard. I just wasn't expecting that.
I don't think anyone was expecting that. I'm not sure Aiden Ingrata was expecting that. And, again, like you said, you're talking championship. Maybe Ingrata thought that there was an opportunity to get himself right to Gaffera's bumper, or, maybe they overslowed compared to where he thought he was needed to be. But either way, heavy contact. At least it looked like all were okay. I saw Garcia's hands go in the air, kind of a, what are you doing, man, to Ingrata, which you can't blame Garcia for. He gets his side pod ripped off. All he was trying to do was open up for the corner. He had just gotten to the bumper of the top 2 and was like, I'm here. And 5 seconds later, he's not.
And you know that Garcia was on the edge himself getting into that corner, right? He was on the outside a little bit, trying to get the thing to rotate, and was on the edge again, hoping for the run out to potentially make a move down in 7 or down in the cell tower corner. The bottom line is everything shakes out behind Sebastian Weldon. He does a fantastic job, works his way forward, gets by Caleb Gaffera after reeling him in, and a win from the 19th position on the grid. Weldon a victor by 0.4 of a second. Gaffera a strong run and a good finish. Not a win when it comes to the championship, a P2 finish here with his primary contenders finishing down in 9th and further down in 12th. That's really big for Caleb Gaffera, and then Alexander Chartier on the podium here. What a great run for Alexander.
Yeah. First career SKUSA Pro Tour for podium for Alexander Chartier. And for Sebastian Weldon, I mean, for Caleb Gaffera, there's nobody better to win besides himself than Sebastian Weldon, who was absent from Utah Motorsports Campus. So he came into this weekend outside the top 15 in the standings. No shot at the championship. He'll happily take those points off the table from everybody else. With all that said and done, obviously some cleanup to be done after a wild and chaotic final lap for X30 Jr. We'll go to commercial. We'll come back with your Master Shifters here presented by Hardin Motorsport Group.
Kart Store USA is a kart partner.
Welcome back here live from Newcastle Motorsports Park. Justin Kelly, after a dominant run in the HMG Master Shifter pre-final to pull away with a crazy battle for P2, will line up alongside AJ now to make up row number 1 for the main event in his first SKUSA Pro Tour start.
Yeah, indeed. Good job here for Justin Kelly on the front row, as you said, alongside AJ now. Larry Pegram and Robert Feege will be on row number 2. Xander Feege, the point leader coming into the race day. And we'll have, after that, Michael Gouache on the inside of row number 3 alongside John Crow. Row 4 will be Ken Schilling and Tiffany Kelly. Field getting the green, and we're underway with Master Shifter and their 18-lap main event. Good hole shot there for Justin Kelly. He'll get out to the early lead. Now try to slip in behind him, working their way down onto the brakes. Big run down for Crow as he tosses it to the inside. Move John Crow inside of Pegram. He'll go up into 3rd spot. Now going to have a look to the inside of Kelly in turn 7. That doesn't work. He's got to back out of it. So it's Justin Kelly as the leader. Now running in 2nd. And 3rd is Pegram. Rather, 3rd is Crow. And again, Justin Kelly trying to capitalize on that pole position, get that first lap in the book, stretch away from those behind him. And it's Justin Kelly out of Nebraska on the CRG, his first ever SuperKarts USA Pro Tour event here at the Summer Nationals. Planning on running the Super Nationals in November. Going to go to Rock Island Grand Prix on Labor Day weekend as well. A bunch of great races for Justin Kelly. It would be a big weekend for him if he's able to come away here with a race victory. AJ Nowd, though, putting some pressure on to begin lap number 2. Kelly, Nowd, Crow, Pegram, and Feege, your top 5.
1 lap complete here. AJ Nowd still close enough. He might be able to throw a dive bomb in a lap or 2 if he can keep it together. In fact, there's a little mistake from Justin Kelly out of turn 3. Here comes AJ Nowd to the bumper. Outside entering turn number 5. Not able to cross him over fully. In fact, now Nowd gets tripped up on the exit. That brings Crow into the mix. Now it goes on defense mode, and they'll all stack up behind him coming out of the green corner with a little bit of separation for Justin Kelly. Kelly got a big gap in the pre-final, but a big part of that was Brian Chatfield did a great job making his cart as wide as possible. Chatfield is buried a little bit further down the pack, of course, after his spin on the very final few laps of the pre-final. And AJ Nowd, I would say, was probably the second quickest driver on the circuit. So we've got P1 and P2 when it comes to best lap times, first and second on the circuit to begin this main event. 2 laps complete here, 16 to go. Justin Kelly, still your leader.
You know, one of the interesting things about Justin Kelly as well, he and his wife Tiffany running here this weekend. And the cool factor is that he's actually on one of the IAME SSE 175 power plants. Both he and Tiffany running the 175s. Of course, a number of drivers have made the move to that KZ power plant, but he's got one of the 175s, and he's rocking with it right now. So pretty good run here for Justin Kelly, getting a good feel. And there's Crow making the move to the inside. John Crow goes by AJ Nowd. He'll take over second spot on the factory kart machine. So move Johnny Crow, the Crow Show, to P2.
There we go. So 15 and a half laps to go. Justin Kelly now has John Crow as the next driver in line, trying to bear down on him on the Musgrave Racing factory kart. And look at this little battle for P4. Larry Pegram side by side with Robert Fege. They go back and forth with the bus stop and over towards the short chute into turns 12, 13, and 14. Justin Kelly, AJ Nowd. Look at that. Pegram drops the wheel on the exit. He's trying to hang on right now in that TKG Kart Republic down the short chute to 12, 13, 14 into 1. And even then, more contact. Almost, it looked like Fege and Mike Gauch back and forth down the front straightaway.
Michael Gouache, Mike Rivera, and Brian Chatfield. Oh, who's that that's gone off?
That was
Gouache. Was that Gouache?
Yeah, Gouache there. He tried to he dropped a wheel on the front straightaway somehow, the left rear tire, as he was opening up for the corner. I think the dirt kind of spun him sideways. Either way, Larry Pegram eventually has to give way, loses 3 spots. Fege, Rivera, all able to get by. I think Chatfield by as well. And while we keep an eye on the midfield battling here with AJ Nowd and John Crow, our race winner, Sebastian Weldon, from last to first. He's caught up and through the scale line.
Sebastian, that was an amazing drive, and you were there for all of it, so I'm going to let you explain it.
So just at the beginning, I kind of relaxed on the start, so I wouldn't end it too early, and I just kept my head down and passed one by one and got the win.
Were you getting really excited as you were getting up to like third, second to pass for first?
I was, but I was also trying to keep focused that it wasn't done yet, so I had to finish it.
Are you going to do anything fun tonight to celebrate?
Probably. Maybe, yeah.
Take a look at Mom to confirm that. Sebastian, who do you want to thank for helping you out this weekend?
I want to thank Speed Concepts and Mario for the good engine, also for Mike Speed doing the data, and also everyone under the team, and then my brother and my mom.
Awesome drive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Wanting to go celebrate that race win. Not sure what you'll do to celebrate here right now. He's got another race tomorrow. He should go to bed early. That's what he should do. No?
I mean, hey, man, when you go from last to first, that's more than just a regular race win here for him. So maybe do some fishing. That pond, I've seen quite a few kids with fishing poles here. I think that's a good and safe way you can do that. The sun's still up while you're doing it. I mean, I don't see a lot of kids doing night fishing here, so that's good. And well, I'd say to go maybe do some rental sessions, but Mike Adams knows better than to open up that slick track here for these guys.
No doubt about that. Keep that closed. But a great run nonetheless for Sebastian Weldon. Out front right here in the Master Shifter class, brought to you by the Hayden Motorsports Group. Justin Kelly leading by 2.1 seconds now. He's been able to get that gap he needs, putting in good lap times. A 104.221. The fast lap went purple last time by lap 5. Again, an 18-lap run here for the drivers in Master Shifter. John Crow up into second. He's got about a second on AJ Nowd. Mike Rivera, Robert Fege, Brian Chatfield, and Larry Pegram currently 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And Xander, all 4 of those drivers turning their fastest laps last time by, all going green, while Ken Schilling, Luis Quinones, and Tiffany Kelly round out the top 10.
Yeah, through the rest of the top 10 here, at least so far. Everyone, no mechanical issues at the moment. No one having any crashed out deals either. Mike Gauch, the only driver really that had any kind of an issue at all. He was able to save it and kind of not lose too much time. He's still only 8.5 seconds back, about a second back from Tiffany Kelly for 10th. And Johnson Irwin just a little bit further down in the 6:28, which with this 18-lapper may go on the verge of going one lap down, but luckily Justin Kelly has a 2.4-second cushion backwards here. We're watching this fight between Robert Fiege and Brian Chatfield. Chatfield, another look down the inside on his drive back up the grid, already halfway there as he's gotten himself into 6th. Closing in on the top 5, but has Larry Pegram. And look at this here, late move on the brakes. Oh, and there's contact, and around goes Chatfield. And nearly the same exact sector of the racetrack, and I think his hand got driven over a little bit there. Brian Chatfield holding his right wrist as he gets out of the go-kart. Obviously, that was not a good feeling with what looked to be Robert Fiege going up and over him.
It looked to me like another one of the screens here. He actually was jumping back in onto the cart, essentially. So hopefully he's all right, because it looked like he was trying to get the cart back onto the racetrack when we cut away. But indeed, the contact between those two drivers there will shake up the order right now within the top 5. See that driver pulled off the racetrack there as well with an issue.
I think that's, I think that's Quinones.
Quinones, yeah.
Yeah, that was the driver. My mistake, not Fiege. Fiege was up the road. Quinones was trying, I think, just to go by on Larry Pegram, and ended up going up to Chatfield, and it just kind of all went haywire from there.
John Crow and AJ now battling it out. That's the fight for second place right now, as Johnny Crow running that factory cart, as we had said. AJ now on the Burrell Art, I believe. Justin Kelly on the CRG. Mike Rivera now up into the 4th spot. Robert Fiege in 5th, and Robert Fiege should, a top 5 here, would all but clinch the championship in this Master Shifter class as well for him. Fiege on the HMG Maverick chassis, the American-made machine. But this battle for second place is a good one. A couple of veteran drivers in John Crow and AJ Now scrapping it out here for P2 as Justin Kelly, 2.9 seconds as the race leader. We're working our way to the halfway point. Next time by will be 9 down to go. And only one more race center still to go after this. We'll cap off the day with X30 Senior.
AJ Nowd with a big run here on John Crow down the Long Pond Straight. He'll get through. He had to spend about the last 6 or 7 laps kind of running Crow back on down. Unfortunate here. He just really lost I think he missed the shift when he tried to get by him about 5 or 6 laps ago. Gave up about a second. Chipped away, 10th, 2 tenths, 3 tenths here and there. Ultimately got back by. And AJ Dowd, again, like you said, he holds the fastest lap. We still are just at about the halfway mark here. 9 in, 9 to go this time. 3 seconds. He'd need to make up a lot of time on Justin Kelly, but at 3 tenths a lap with 10 laps to go, he was 3 tenths better the previous lap around, so maybe AJ Nowd could get there. But Justin Kelly, a nice and comfortable advantage right now as he heads towards turn number 12. He'll see the cross sticks go in the air. 9 down, 9 to go, and again, a big boost of confidence here for Saturday as he looks towards Supernats 25, no doubt.
Yeah, really good stories. We've talked about already with Justin and his wife, Tiffany, but did a lot of car racing themselves. They all had their own cars they ran in Time Attack and running in the NASA programs, and they had a couple of CRGs that they had bought that were sitting in the garage, and finally, with everything going on, they're not going to get in the hauler and go way up the road with the full transporter. Like I said, they got their family vehicle. They got an open trailer, I think, that they bought or rented, and they've got the carts on top of those coming to the racetrack, so more affordable racing for them. They've got a couple easy ups. They don't have the big hauler, but coming here and doing some karting. They've got into it. They're absolutely loving it. And they've done a bunch of different races. They ran the Quincy Grand Prix, the Quincy in the Park event, that street race that happens in early June every year. They're going to plan to run Rock Island. They did one of the Carters of America Racing Triad events at Lake Afton, or Lake Garnett, rather, which is a kind of an open park race. They've just been having a blast running their 125 or 175 cc shifters because they've got the SAE 175. Here they come to the Pro Tour. Tiffany's having a great run as well, and Justin's got a chance to win in his Pro Tour debut against a couple of great drivers. AJ Nowd, a former Super Nationals winner. John Crow, as we know, multiple-time race winner and SKUSA champion as well.
Yeah, again, the list for John Crow for AJ Nowd, it could go on quite a bit more than just one little footnote there, so that makes it even more impressive for Justin Kelly. This isn't just a generic Pro Tour shifter master field. This is a very strong shifter master field for him to be putting the laps down that he is, and he's only equaled by AJ Nowd as of last time by. Nowd got a half tenth up on him And, of course, Justin Kelly, I'd imagine at this point in the race, just kind of on cruise control. He's maybe testing stamina a little bit, but a 3-second gap, that's a healthy margin here for him. As, Rob, you've got the championship points coming into this weekend for Robert Feige, for Mike Gauch. Obviously, they're the two drivers that have run the full season along with Ken Schilling. We'll look at Schilling versus Feige as of coming into the weekend. Robert Feige, comfortable margin for sure.
Yeah, I think he's got this thing pretty much locked up with a 5th-place finish here today. Almost 200 and something points up on Ken Schilling in this championship fight. Again, laps winding down. 7 more to go. AJ now putting good laps in now. He's 2.9 seconds back, but very similar lap times. Both Kelly and now putting down 104 flats. So both these drivers with good lap times. John Crow trying to match, but he's a 104.5. He's fallen away a little bit here at the end. Nonetheless, though, Kelly up front. And, got the whole shot, got challenged a bit early, but settled right in, was able to pull away. And just like we saw with Marian Kremers, once you're out front like that, you can manage the gap yourself. You manage the tires. You take care a little bit. You maybe not push to the very edge on every corner. You're able to manage it and be able to pull away for a race win.
Definitely here. With 12 laps to be completed this time by, we're watching John Crow right now just putting some laps in. He's a little bit slower than Mike Rivera, but he's got 3 to 4 seconds back to him. He's trailing AJ Nowd, who goes purple, but Nowd still only made up half a tenth on the race leader. Justin Kelly set his own personal best of the session last time by. 6 laps to go, 12 laps complete here. You're watching third place, John Crow in the 6:31, who's up 3 spots from 6th on the grid here. With Mike Rivera up 5 into 4th, Rob Feige up into the top 5. Larry Pegram, talking about the AMA Superbike race winner here, has dropped back a little bit and just kind of settled into the 6th position. The pace just not being able to withstand the rest of the pack that have kind of found some different levels of speed. Justin Kelly's been consistent out front all day, just like we saw with Marian Kremers. I wouldn't say he's gotten any more or less dominant. Last time by a super good lap by him, but with everyone talking about how much the track is changing throughout the day, for Justin Kelly to be just consistently at pace or a little bit above the rest of the shifter master field is obviously impressive.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing out of Kelly. This is great to see a driver come in here like this. The transition, of course, from sports car racing into top-level shifter car racing is in the master shifter level. And again, we're seeing across the board, I think across the country, and in a lot of these programs, not say everybody, but a lot of people are coming back to shifters. Some of the young guys, we're going to see Michael Costello jumping up as well. Some of these young guys are going, you know what, I don't want to go run in the X30 senior class. I want to go shifter racing. I want to bang gears. And the funny thing is, and I talked to Phil Pignataro, who has been coaching and working on Michael Costello. And once he got into the shifter, he's kind of getting a feel for the braking side of it. That's the one thing I had mentioned earlier, getting really able to optimize the brakes. That's the big transition for the juniors coming up. But I said he'll probably never want to drive anything else, because the minute you drive a shifter, it's just so much fun. I don't want to drive a single speed anymore. I want to go shifter racing. And I remember that when I first drove a shifter back in 2000, man. It was such a fun ride.
It's definitely hard to go back from here. While we get set for the finish coming up here for Master Shifter, let's send it down to Kendall Hedge. She's got a little bit of a report for us coming as the X30 Pros are almost set for our last main event of the day. Kendall?
Went down on grid just a little bit ago to talk to a couple drivers before they head out for the X30 Senior Final. And I got to chat with John Burke, who's starting 6th today. And he's just hoping that this race is going to be smooth sailing, and he's just praying that RPG is not going to have a breakaway like last time, but he's hoping it's going to be a smooth and clean race today.
Thanks, Kendall. Here again, John Burke. He's had a good day in the works for him, and he's looking for that. He's been kind of missing that. We've had just hot and cold spots for him in the KA class. He wants to be an X30 Pro contender. He's been that. He's proven that he can have the pace to run up front. To be able to put that together week in, week out is going to give him more opportunities to get behind the wheel of a 125cc machine, and he's doing a great job so far today. Managed through what was probably a very chaotic race for him in that pre-final. From 4th on back, I mean, you could have been 4th, you could have been 20th, depending on how you played your cards. He rolls off on row 3.
And he's not wrong about the potential for an RPG breakaway, right? You get those 3 guys together, people aren't working together around them, they're able to get out front. That's something you have to worry about. And I don't care what it is, what group it is. You put whatever team, you put 3 of their fast guys out on the racetrack. We've seen it with RPM and Junior, whatever it may be, right? In this particular category, Rawlson's super strong right now. Somebody's got to get in there. Somebody's got to be the disruptor. Somebody's got to dive bomb to get in there to make sure they're not all lined up.
For sure here. Let's go ahead and we'll send it down to Jenna. Jenna, what do you have for us here for the X30 Pro grid as well?
Thanks, Xander. Got to have a quick chat with Louis Westover, who took a break from the European scene to join us this weekend. He was mentioning that the weekend hadn't been great until today in the pre-final when he found some speed and luck, and he's hoping that he can keep it in there in the final. Nothing but prayers and speed.
Again, I mean, that's where I think a lot of the field finds themselves. They are just praying they can do something. The good news for Westover, at least, he's P3, right? So he is going to be lining up to the inside. Norberg's 10-second penalty, with all the other penalties that went on for the madhouse that was happening in that X30 Pro pre-final, Norberg's 10-second penalty takes him from second to fourth.
That's
so, I mean,
crazy.
It's wild how much of a gap they had on the rest of the field, but it puts them on the outside, and we've seen the outside be kind of a graveyard for some of the classes here. So that's a little sliver of hope. And again, for Lou Westover, he just kind of managed himself, moved himself up, and prayers for some speed here to contend.
You know, you never want to rely on luck, but sometimes when you see the chaos we have, you're just the unlucky guy that gets collected in an event. If you're out of that way, maybe you just missed something. That's kind of the luck you want. You know, opportunities when luck meets preparation. So as long as you're good to go, you're going to get that opportunity to run up front, and we'll see whether or not that happens for Louis Westover. It is happening right now for Justin Kelly, who will see the 1 lap to go sign. He has been very consistent throughout this race, and what a tremendous debut it will be for this driver at Omaha, Nebraska. He and his wife Tiffany rolling in here to Castle Motorsports Park to be part of the action, trying to bring the CRG home. He's been I was talking to him on Friday, and he told me, he goes, I've been on the phone with Ron White. He's going to run with Ron, the Supernats. Ron's been helping me out. You and Jeffrey, of course, from CRG Nordam. All the CRG guys, of course, love to see the black and yellow, the CRG up front. And Justin's looking to potentially bring them a big Masters shifter win. It's on at least the Pro Tour. I can't remember the last time we had a Master Shifter win on a CRG. We've been seeing the guys like Ryan Kinnear and Jordan Musser kind of dominate on the Burrell Art and the Ricardo over the last number of years. So CRG looking to go back to the top of the box here with Justin Kelly.
Yeah, great position for them to be in as they look towards the Supernats, trying to fill out as many classes as they can to get a driver to win on their manufactured piece. We look towards the final few corners now. Through the cell tower hairpin on the last lap, Justin Kelly's lead, 5.5 seconds. Rob, he's done a great job all day, and there's no better guy to call him home here than your reunion with him after nearly 15 seasons.
Yeah, super cool to have him as part of my IndoorKartingNews.com all-star team back in 2009 at the Machismo 500. I see him again here at the Summer Nationals, and he comes out and dominates the action. Justin Kelly winning today in Master Shifter on the CRG, the Omaha driver, scoring the victory, and it's a big one. Over AJ now, 5.6 seconds, the margin of victory for Kelly. John Crow holding on for third, so a strong podium. Mike Rivera up 5 spots. He ends up 4th position. And Robert Fiege, your point leader on the HMG Maverick chassis, ends up rounding out the top 5. Ahead of Larry Pegram, Michael Gouache, Tiffany Kelly, and Ken Schilling. Just a real solid run throughout the entire 18 laps for Justin Kelly. And we'll see him on the podium later on today when we do that. What a great run for Justin.
Yeah, what an awesome performance here for Justin Kelly. So the 686 machine ends on top in Master Shifter. X30 Pro action is coming your way here. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, the drivers in the other headline division will be headed onto the racetrack. Is it going to be Hayden Jones, Paul Bocuse? Can Norberg win from 4th? Can Louis Westover's prayers get answered and win from P3? There's more to come, and all 30 are coming your way to close out Saturday here for the SKUSA Pro Tour.
Supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex Rock engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. As the Western importer of the Praga and Formula K chassis brands, Leading Edge Motorsports is a high-performance kart shop and race team with a simple mission: teach others the joy of high-performance driving, supply our customers with the highest quality products and services, and most of all, win races. With our remarkable racing inventory, expert services, and top-ranked national-level team to back it up, we'll help to get your new kart racing package up and running fast. From arrive and drive service to kart preparation and driver coaching to the parts you need to get you back on the racetrack, Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer.
Hannah Greenemeyer is going to score the final win of the U.S. Pro Kart Series. Hayden Jones is a national race winner. Nate Cicero wins.
Four-time champion Ryan Norberg winning Super Nationals 24.
Winner, winner, winner.
Are you ready to join one of North America's winningest driver development programs? Rollison Performance Group offers fully customizable packages that are meant to take your game to the next level. For more information, head to rollisonperformancegroup.com.
Welcome back here live at the Castle Motorsports Park. It's time to put on the show here, the second of the two headline divisions. Ready to get after it. Pro Shifter was dominated by Marian Kremers. He's got a lot more work to try and get up to the front here in this one, as he and Jeremy Fletcher were collected on the opening lap, the first corner of the pre-final. They roll off 29th and 30th here today, back on row number 15. Ahead of them, Adam Ali and Jacob Hoover.
Going to be a great field for sure as they work your way up there. Want to start at the very front. Let's go with Hayden Jones as your pole sitter. Tremendous day so far for him. He'll start alongside his teammate Paul Bocuse. Nice to have a teammate alongside you from Rollison Performance Group.
Not too bad, you'd think, as they roll into that start box. And you talk Rollison Performance Group with Ryan Norberg. After a 10-second penalty, the top three were so far away when he crossed the line second. He rolls off still on the outside of row 2 in fourth. To the inside of him, Louis Westover, the lone Solo Kart USA factory driver.
Another RPG in there, starting on the inside of row number 3, Donovan Mania alongside John Burke. Burke will start in the 6th position.
Pedro Hiltbrand, the former world champion, starts to the inside of row number 4 alongside Frankie Mossman in the Team Benek Eos kart.
Wrapping up the top 10, Austin Garrison alongside Paulie Massimino. A couple of CRG drivers alongside each other on row number 5.
Here we go, into the tram lines, looking for the final green flag of Saturday. X30 Pro Senior is underway. What a great start for the inside lane, and Louis Westover off the bat to the inside of Hayden Jones. We had one driver turned around, 2 around on the beginning, but Louis Westover, a great dive bomb off the start. He takes the lead, and look at Austin Garrison. He's gone to 3rd on the opening lap.
Yeah, a little bit of luck there for Louis Westover. He finds himself P1. The luck was actually the opportunity. He took it. He goes to the lead on the Solo Kart USA machine. Through turn number 7 for the first time. Number of drivers having trouble. Some contact mid-corner. Another driver there slow further back in the 396. As drivers coming through that, I believe, was Nicholas DeAndrea. An issue coming through turn number 7.
Definitely. Donovan Mania with a good start there from the 5th position. Hayden Jones is getting eaten up. Ryan Norberg is getting used up. And Paul Bocuse up and around in front of the field. Kept it going. Louis Westover will lead lap number 1 over Austin Garrison. And it's a big gap here to go backwards. Diego Ramos is into the 4th spot. Paul Bocuse trying to play recovery mode now, as this field's been completely thrown through the blender here on the opening lap. Garrison up 7, Ramos up 9, Blake Nash up 6, Norberg is P6. Everybody coming through, and look at this ZCD with a Dragon front bumper on the Parolin.
Going to try to pull that thing off, Zach. I don't think there's much you can do there. Your day is done. Crazy one there as they'll work their way now into the second lap of action. Louis Westover off to a pretty solid start, but Austin Garrison a good jump up 7 spots. Talk about shaking up the grid on the opening circuit. We've moved drivers all over the place, as Xander had said. Garrison up 7, Ramos up 9, Nash up 6. What else? Jones back 7, Edward Ports up 7 spots. Started 17th, Ports into the top 10. And I think that is now Garrison who's gotten to the lead. Garrison P1, and that might put Bonilla up into 2nd.
Yeah, Bonilla was right there, was able to follow him through. Garrison caught Louis Westover sleeping, exiting the green corner. He was able to get through, and now Garrison goes on defense mode from Donovan Bonilla. He'll block the inside. That'll bring everybody back into it. Ramos right there. Blake Nash was relatively quick to the pre-final, and look at Ramos. Catches Westover as well. He gets by for third. Here comes Austin Garrison to the bottom. Donovan Bonilla trying to let him know to go forward, but Garrison's blocking specifically. I would bet Bonilla and probably Norberg, who goes all the way to the top side, tries to pick off one spot, can't fully do it. Oh, and Westover throws a wheel at him there out of 3.
He also got a little bit, I think, into the bumper onto the right rear of Ramos, and that was a good move for Norberg. He knew by going to the outside he was going to have the inside line. Nobody else was going to come across on him, so a pretty strong run there for Norberg. He'll move his way into the 5th position, or maybe that might even be 4th for Norberg, indeed, able to get by Louis Westover coming into turn number 7. So Westover's time up front very short as a lot of action happening further back. Ramos now goes to P2 in the Burrell Art. Great run there for Diego Ramos going to the inside of the cell tower corner, throwing that Burrell to the bottom. He puts Bonilla back into 3rd ahead of Norberg.
And don't look now. Marian Kremers is up 15 spots to 14th. Jeremy Fletcher up 18 spots to 12th. And as they fight behind the top 2, Ryan Norberg and Donovan Bonilla able to get a little bit of a gap as there they all go. Look at that. Westover, they're 3 wide down the front straightaway. Blake Nash put all the way to the wayside. Everyone trying to find a way around the solo cart of Louis Westover, who's trying to hang on. How long can he defend from them before he gets knocked off the racetrack?
Another driver 4 wheels up and able to come back on. Look at this action. 2 wide all the way down into turn number 5. Drivers around the outside trying to race them out to the exit point of turn 5. That exit that leads you over to turn 6. Back to 7 right now. And it's Westover getting used up a little bit there by Edward Ports.
No, that was Hiltbrand.
Oh, that was Pedro Hiltbrand. He had got by Ports. So Hiltbrand on the way forward. He's not had the best of days. Pedro Hiltbrand, he wants to move forward as the Burrell Art drivers starting to find themselves up into the top 10. Ramos leading the way for Burrell Art running their P2.
And good move there by Jeremy Fletcher, able to get up and look at Ramos for the lead. Turn 12. He's through. Great move by Diego Ramos. Austin Garrison back to 2nd. He nearly got him there in 14.
Was that the first pass we've seen in turn 12? I don't know if that was the first guy we've seen dive it down the inside late into 12. Great pass there for Diego Ramos. Garrison 2nd, Norberg 3rd. He's been able to get by Bonilla. And there they are side by side to the inside. More contact out of the corner. Oh, and there goes Ramos 4 wheels off.
Austin Garrison is here to play. He cut Norberg off on the straightaway, then drove Ramos in the grass. Now what does he do to Norberg? He'll throw the elbows up, moves Norberg wide. Austin Garrison does not care who you are. He is going to be putting a pod to yours as they go out of the green corner.
And remember, Norberg's running for a championship here right now as well. He's well into the position to get it. Oh, and there's the payback there coming through turn number 9.
And now Norberg's got a blocker. He's got Donovan Bonilla behind him, his teammate. So I think that might be the end of the day here. Unfortunately, Austin Garrison probably was helping a lot of the viewers out getting some action. Let's see if anyone else can get up there because Ryan Norberg has been unbelievably quick here. As there goes Ramos through in turn number 12.
Again, same pass he did in turn number 12. You're not happy at all, of course, with getting shoveled off the racetrack. I'm surprised it was that clean of a move to the inside of 12. He could have forced the order and potentially put Garrison off the outside of the corner, but instead realizing there's lots of racing still to do. 5 laps down, 13 to go. Norberg's gone to the lead, but that was some serious argy-bargy between both of those drivers. First, it was coming down the straightaway. As you guys said, Garrison threw a little bit of a block on him, and then big move into turn number 9, and Norberg was going through turn 9. There was no doubt about it there.
No doubt there. Now Donovan Bonilla into 2nd. He's not able to really hold on to Norberg's coattails anymore. Norberg's starting to set sail. Diego Ramos is trying to close up, and here's a look further back. Jeremy Fletcher has cracked the top 10, 22 spots gained. Looking for more. He's on the bumper of Louis Westover, who's following Frankie Mossman, who's moved up a couple. And there's Ed Ports going at it with Hayden Jones. Remember Hayden Jones? He started on the pole.
Yeah, he fell back a ways, but just went purple last time by, a 106.002. So we know that Hayden Jones has got the speed, but he's back there now among the fights. So he's trying to get himself back forward. Did a great job to get by Edward Ports. Now he's right there with Jeremy Fletcher trying to get by Louis Westover. Fletcher getting the job done. Fletcher now to 6th, Westover in 7th. 8th is Pedro Hiltbrand. 9th is Hayden Jones. And 10th is Edward Ports. So the driver's still moving forward. Fletcher, the big mover, up 24 positions. Kremer's up 15, but stalled a bit there, P14.
Definitely. Frankie Mossman that time by was able to equal the pace of the top 2. Jeremy Fletcher was 0.2 better, and he is up to 6th. 24 spots up. So Fletcher and Mossman, the two rookie sensations, are the only shot right now, it looks like, because Austin Garrison and Diego Ramos, they've used up their stuff a little bit, and they are not really gaining much ground on the leaders. Here is Mossman. Bumper on Garrison. Will look to the inside. Not enough to get there into the cell tower hairpin, but he's close.
I like Mossman trying to keep in here. He's been roughed up a little bit. He's been part of some action, part of a little bit of controversy. He's had a couple of guys with probably some curse words when they came off the racetrack. He's been really elbows up throughout the weekend on that Team Bennett EOS. But trying to gain
look at that.
Yeah, that's a nice move to the inside of turn number 15. I like that. That's a really well-planned move, right? You just get there. You roll the cart out of turn 14, but you got to make sure you plan it nicely into turn number 15. That was a great pass.
Now he's got 1.5 seconds to gain here. There's Jeremy Fletcher. He'll go with him. Look at Louis Westover. Where did he go? And now he's back. Louis Westover was way out of here, and now he's found some speed. In fact, he was on pace with Norberg last time by, as there goes Mossman to the inside of Ramos. So Frankie Mossman now onto the box, looking at Donovan Bonilla with Norberg about a second up the road.
Indeed, Norberg, Bonilla, now Mossman in third, Ramos in fourth. Garrison is fifth, we still believe. Well, we saw that Louis Westover getting himself back into the fight as well. So lots of action happening here behind Ryan Norberg, who, again, out front looking to put another win on the box and to try to lock down the drive for 5 here in SuperKarts USA Pro Tour competition.
Slick move there by Jeremy Fletcher to get by Donovan Bonilla. Louis Westover going to follow, and he'll bring Hayden Jones with him. So Jones kind of coming back forward. And let's see, what can Frankie Mossman, Diego Ramos, and Jeremy Fletcher do with Mossman leading the charge out of the last corner and through turn number 1. Mossman that time by lost about 3 to 4 hundredths. He is digging with everything he's got on the Team Bennett EOS kart.
Look at Donovan Bonilla was P2. Doesn't take much when you get roughed up by the top drivers in the sport. Back into 7th position now for Bonilla. Like Louis Westover, you got to press the reset button. You're to clear your mind out, get back at it. You got to cart with the speed to work forward, so settle back in, get back on your line, your race line, and then go back to work. That's the key here to move forward right now, because I think one of the drivers to watch again is going to be Hayden Jones. He is still flying. Marion Kremers actually just went purple on the Burrell Art. He's got his way up to 14th spot. He was significantly quicker than a couple of drivers in front of him, Jacob Hoover and Paul Bocuse. So we'll see if he's able to work to the top 10. But, man, the battling we're seeing up front with Fletcher and Ramos and now Mossman trying to reel in Norberg, this is good stuff.
Yeah, they are going at it again. You're seeing just a lot of guys realizing that, you know, the Donovan Bonilla, the inexperience, they can take advantage of that, even though he may be a little bit faster. Now, that time by, unfortunately, not a good lap for Frankie Mossman. It was his best. Norberg was a 10th better. Fletcher was a 10th and a half better than both of them, so he might have a shot at it. And then Diego Ramos, that time, he lost about 0.4 of a second. So he is unfortunately continuing to fade as he loses the 4th position to Hayden Jones there in turn number 3.
Yeah, Hayden sliding by on the inside of turn number 3. His march forward continuing as well. Jones now comfortably into the 4th spot. All the top 5 drivers on that last lap going green, all turning their fastest laps at the halfway point. 9 laps down, 9 to go in our last race of the day, round 5 of this year's SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, the front end of the doubleheader of the Summer Nationals here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. And again, Ryan Norberg leading by 1.5 seconds, but the battle behind him is Mossman, Fletcher, Jones, Ramos, Westover, Garrison all in the fight here now. This is some really tremendous racing in X30 Senior. Norberg out front trying to get that other victory, but that podium is not done at all. There's a potential move to the inside. Look at this side-by-side racing. Jones trying to get Fletcher.
He's doing everything he can to get to him here. Hayden Jones coming back. Look at this. John Burke is out. John Burke in the 304 said he was looking for a clean result. Unfortunately, he's out. Back up front, here's Jones again on Mossman as Fletcher's gone through to 2nd, and Jones is through for 3rd.
Wow. That is Jones pushing hard, but look at Fletcher working his way forward. Can you believe this? This guy started back in 30th position. He has got himself the 2nd spot right now. 1.8 seconds behind Norberg. Was actually quicker by about a 10th last time by. Likely too little too late because there's nobody up there to battle with Norberg. He's just going to set the pace, but nonetheless, the run for Fletcher.
Oh, they're both off. He was battling with Hayden Jones, and now Fletcher just went way off the racetrack. And Jones off as well. Jones has re-entered in front of him.
That was, I believe, coming through, turn number 8 and 9, I think, over to the cell tower corner. Those two drivers getting together, coming into the corner. You watch them go well off. Let's see where they slot back in, but that's a tough one for Jeremy Fletcher.
Yeah, he was fighting that. I think he thought Hayden Jones was going to pull away if he got back in front of him, so he kind of crossed him up a couple corners in a row, and Jones still had the bumper on the left rear tire, and when Fletcher tried to come over through the kink, they pop tires or pop bumpers, and it sent them both off the racetrack.
That'll shake things up front again. That's what we've kind of had throughout this race, a ton of shake-up. The opening lap, of course, was crazy. We found Louis Westover on the solo kart, finding his way to P1 early. Ryan Norberg fought his way back forward, eventually got himself up there. Diego Ramos was impressive out of the gate as well. Norberg has built that 2.6-second lead right now, but we talked about people falling down the order who have been involved. Hayden Jones all the way down to the 8th spot. Jeremy Fletcher back to 11th. Still 7 more laps for Fletcher. He's got the speed. I don't think anything's wrong with the go-kart. If he's able to get his way back up, top 5, even a podium, may not be out of the reach of Fletcher here with 7 to go.
Yeah, definitely, especially if they keep shuffling this spot right here. Frankie Mossman, I think, has a little bit of a leg up on pace over everyone else in this pack, but they're able to kind of sit in his draft, and then they've been trading the spots amongst themselves. Obviously, Ramos now into the final spot on the podium. Westover back off it, which still, it's a very impressive run of Louis Westover carrying that solo kart here. Again, they don't have a whole lot of races they get to run together in the States. They brought over, again, Louis, and Louis is doing everything he can to get their product up front. A very impressive run from Louis Westover and Pedro Hiltbrand. Again, you said it's not been a great day for him. There's no doubt about it. We haven't talked about him much. Besides him putting the bumper, it looked like who do we have earlier? I don't know if that was it wasn't Bonilla. I'm trying to remember who he got into, but he had got into it with someone. I think it may have been Westover. Either way, Pedro Hiltbrand into the top 5.
Yeah, good run for him. And anyways, to cap off the day, right? Doesn't matter what you do in qualifying, really, in the pre-main, in that pre-final, if you can get a good final to kind of put a cap to the day. He runs P5 ahead of Austin Garrison, Donovan Bonilla, Hayden Jones, Edward Ports, and Jacob Hoover. Out front by 2.7 seconds now with 6 laps to go. Ryan Norberg has things handled. You can't even see him on the screen. He's just already rolling through 15 and 16. But Frankie Mossman, who's been part of a lot of the spotlight throughout the day, tons of hardcore racing, he's been up there. Xander in the middle of a fight, scrapping away and saving the best to last here on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Frankie Mossman, again, a great performance here today. It'll be a career-high finish if he can hang on to where he's at right now with a P2 result on the SKUSA Pro Tour. And like you said, it should be really probably 2 top 5s. He's been up front all day in KA Senior as we see Hayden Jones back down the inside for the second time, having to come from the back of the field. Again, remember, Hayden Jones qualified up front, started on the pole for the main event, and now for the second time here in the main, he is having to drive through the field. He's got himself now up to the 6th position and digging for more.
Yeah, that was a good pass to get by Austin Garrison on the CRG, so Hayden's looking to try to see if he can't work his way forward. The next target on the hit list would be Louis Westover, but got to make sure he can get himself forward here now. Norberg's leading by 2.8. Jones just turned fast lap of the race on that last time by. We'll see if he continues to knock out these purple laps. Lap 14 in the books. Norberg's lead now 3 seconds flat over Mossman. Fletcher just put the fast lap down back in 10th position. A 1:05.1 for Jeremy Fletcher. It's Norberg, Mossman, Ramos, Hiltbrand, and Westover. Top 5 drivers all going green on lap 14.
Yeah, all of them running the best laps they possibly can right now here. 4 to go. Frankie Mossman's trying to pull away from Ramos. He's not far enough. Ramos with a late dive. He'll get crossed over, though. Mossman's got the nose ahead, going to the green corner. They'll race each other clean. He gets the second spot back.
Yeah, super clean over-under there. Obviously had the inside left open. Ramos tossed it in there, and just a nice over-under for Frankie Mossman to hold it back. Not this time over in the cell tower corner as he's able to get through. Look at this side-by-side racing as Hiltbrand's trying to get in there, too. Oh, hold on. That is, I believe, Jones in there, too, right?
Jones in there. Yeah. Westover was part of it 3 wide. It was 3 wide with Mossman getting stuck in the middle between Louis Westover and Pedro Hiltbrand, 2 world-class international talents. And I'm sure, again, welcome to senior here, Frankie Mossman. This is what it's like at the front of the pack, which he's seen a few times this year, but I don't think he's seen it like that. Across the line, 3 to go. Ramos, now Hiltbrand making it 2. PSL Karting Bureau Larts in the podium spots. Mossman to 4th, and Hayden Jones now into the top 5 again.
Yeah, Jones trying to get himself back onto the podium. It's been a great day for him. Winning that pre-final, like we said, just has not been able to capitalize on a couple of incidents that have shoveled things around. The opening lap being the first, which really shook everything up. He fell back to 8th position, scrapped his way back up, and then got pushed back. He's going to make a big move down to the inside of Mossman. That was an aggressive move for Hayden Jones, and I like that one. You got to get in there and be strong. Held that position, owned the apex, owned the exit, took it on the corner. He's now P4, Xander. There's a podium opportunity here, maybe even second, as he's got a couple of Burrell Arts right in front of him.
Yeah, let's see what he does right here. Again, Pedro Hiltbrand, he's been aggressive already today, and I don't know if Hayden Jones saw how aggressive he got with Louis Westover, but we know Pedro Hiltbrand, if the pace isn't there, he's not going to give up on the fight. He will fight to the very last lap, and with now just 2 laps to go, there's not a lot left already. Across the line, Ramos looks back, sees his teammate. Hiltbrand knows he's got to probably work with him here for a little while longer, and I think he will. I think Pedro Hiltbrand, again, coming over just to help the PSL karting guys out on his time outside of his European schedule. I don't see him really forcing the issue on Ramos, but I could see him throwing the elbows up at Hayden Jones.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely run blocker for sure. Interestingly, Ryan Norberg comes across the line to go 2 laps remaining with a purple lap. There's a good move again. Back-to-back moves in turn number 7 for Hayden Jones. Went by Mossman first, then went by Pedro Hiltbrand. So Jones now up into the 3rd spot. But where I was going with that was Norberg with 2 to go, going purple. 105.035, fast lap of the race, coming on the penultimate circuit here for Ryan Norberg. He's 4.9 seconds in the lead. The spotlight, though, on the fight for second on the final circuit. Can Hayden Jones take it back here from Diego Ramos? A couple of Burrell Arts separating those drivers. Frankie Mossman back there. He'd like to get back on the podium as well. This is the final lap, Xander. Here comes Hayden Jones.
One more shot at it. Big run down the front stretch. Ramos is going to block to the inside for all that he's worth right now. Pedro Hiltbrand opening up to the outside. He'll get a nice little exit. Frankie Mossman's there. Garrison's there. Hayden Jones on the bumper again. Look in. Gets that closed off. Here comes Hiltbrand. He'll box him in around the outside, and that's going to keep Jones from crossing him over. Hiltbrand kind of self-sacrificing right there to help Ramos out, and he'll get back clear of Mossman into the green corner.
Yeah, that was a fantastic partner move there to go to the outside just so that Jones couldn't do that over-under move, and he's putting the pressure on. Mossman's trying to get in there as well to see if he can't get the elbows up. Here's a big move to the outside. Mossman's going to come to the inside on Hiltbrand, though, I believe. Doesn't get the job done. It's still Ramos as your leader. They'll work their way out of turn number, 12 and through to 13, and then 14, 15, and 16. Norberg should have crossed the line. He's going to win this thing going away. Norberg, another huge victory, but here comes the battle. We got one driver hardcore into the barriers there, into the corner.
Massimino.
Paulie Massimino in the Speed Concepts machine is out. He's buried it in the Tech Pros coming through. Ramos able to hold off Hayden Jones. Norberg with the win by 7.1 seconds. It is Ramos finishing in second. Hayden Jones third. We did have a bunch of stuff happen on the final lap. Who's falling down the order? Pedro Hiltbrand falling down the order as well, as Edward Ports ends up in 4th. Austin Garrison 5th. Jeremy Fletcher 6th. Up 24 spots. Louis Westover in the 7th position. Laurent Legault up to 8th. Frankie Mossman ends up in 9th. And Paul Bocuse in 10th. Let's just say there was a little bit of action happening there, Xander, in 14, 15, and 16.
Yeah, we just saw on screen there, Pedro Hiltbrand is pushing his go-kart right now in the 340. He gets taken out. I don't think Massimino was close to him there on the final lap, even with Hiltbrand kind of shuffling back. Paulie was down in the 11th position. Pedro, again, was battling with Frankie Mossman to come to the line, and I have to imagine that he and Frankie got together. Mossman ends up crossing in 9th down. That allowed, of course, Hayden Jones to get through, and then Ports to get by. Garrison avoids it, gets to top 5. I'm sure there'll be some official intervention, which could put Jeremy Fletcher in the top 5, but Paulie Massimino, let's see who he's got. He's, I think, headed over to have a little word with someone over in the scale line.
Just a high five.
High five there to Jeremy Fletcher for that drive on forward. So I don't know what ended up with him in the wall, or if Pedro Hiltbrand has any words for anyone there, or Frankie Mossman altogether. What a run for Lou Westover too. I mean, he just up, down, sideways, all over.
Agreed.
He made that first half of the race as exciting as he could. He said he needed some prayers and a little bit of speed. I don't know if he had enough speed to fight for it, but he threw everything he had at it, no doubt.
And,
So
that was a big run for Louis Westover. Ends up at 7th, right there in the middle of the action at the end. Norberg, of course, a little bit yonder as he was able to get away from all that great action behind him. Diego Ramos fought tooth and nail for the entire time to make sure he was on the podium for PSL karting, and Hayden Jones makes it 2 RPG drivers unofficially on the podium. Edward Ports 4th, Austin Garrison. He was in there the entire time as well. And how about Jeremy Fletcher? It says 24th. 24 spots up from his 30th starting spot, but he passed more karts than that because he went to second, went back, and came back forward. All in all, a really good run for Jeremy Fletcher.
yeah, great run forward there, and we'll get set here for more post-race interviews coming up here. We got to figure out, we'll confirm that Paulie Massimino and Pedro Hiltbrand are okay. Obviously, both are walking around, see if we can get an idea of what happened to them on the final few laps, and as well, of course, talk to our top finishers. Ryan Norberg, Diego Ramos, Hayden Jones, your unofficial podium here for X30 Pro Senior, presented by Speed Lab Racing Engines. We'll be right back.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment, look no further than Rev Performance Materials, engine mounts, sprockets, and RK chains. Available online now at RevPerformanceMaterials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material, built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
All right, welcome back here live from Castle Motorsports Park for the conclusion of the X30 Pro main event. We've got a number of drivers we're going to be talking to following this one, and it was, well, about as elbows up as we've seen all year, if not maybe more so. Ryan Norberg is down with our Kendall Hedge. Kendall?
I'm here with Ryan Norberg. No surprise to the audience that we're talking to you today, but you actually had to put in a lot of work to get to where you are right now.
Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, everybody was gunning for us this race, and I mean, I called it the last weekend that it was going to be hairy. At the start, we got a little bit of contact. I mean, everybody kind of nailed me, and that's where I got half a drop down. And then from there on, I mean, a lot of the guys were just pretending I didn't exist, and so they would just run their line and put me in the grass. I mean, I was going 60 mile an hour in the dirt at the end of the straightaway, 70 mile an hour in the dirt at the end of the straightaway in the air, so that was cool. And then there's other few times where I was in the dirt again, and I don't know, the big thing was just keep your nose clean. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the other guys, RPG guys, got taken out. But but I knew, what the game that it normally is. And so it was honestly just take the punches, wait for everybody to thin out, and then go again. And I took a few punches, but it was good. I waited for everybody to thin out, got into second, got by Austin, and then from there on, it was just kind of maintain. I knew I had a drop down, so I had to push as hard as I could. I was trying to get away, and luckily I did, so it was good.
Once you were able to get away and gap everybody a lot, how did you keep cool and keep your laps consistent?
Well, it was just a matter of, keeping my head on my shoulders. I mean, you can't stop pushing when you're out front. That's a lot of the time that you get out front and you just kind of relax because you're nervous. But every time I was going as deep as I could into the hairpins. I mean, this one on the main straightaway here, I was actually like blowing quite a few of the time. So yeah, just drive as hard as I could. I mean, it was one of those things where I knew I had 3 seconds I had to make up, and luckily I was able to make that up. I think even without the racing in the end. But yeah, I knew that was in the back of my head, and I had to just go as hard as I could.
Well, good racing today, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kendall. And again, Ryan Norberg, he knows, that there's been the bullseye on his back for quite some time here this year. I mean, when you have been as dominant as he has, as his team has, obviously, everyone's gunning for you. There's frustration with that all, but, again, it seemed like even today was another level of the, talking about that move with Austin Garrison on that front straightaway. That was wild.
They're trying to push him, right? What do you do when you're trying to beat a champion like that? You got to try to push him out of his comfort zone. And the thing about Ryan Norberg is he's so mature, so focused, and so confident that he can settle in. Even though, like he talked about, all the punches he was getting shoveled off the racetrack, he's the guy that was able to keep his cool. And a lot of the times you'll see that happen, and guys don't keep their cool. Once they get back to the guy that hit them off, they're going to take him off as well. For Ryan, he realized what he had to do, put his head down, and even with the drop down, able to push 100% the entire time. So that's what Ryan Norberg's all about. That's really what we got to see here today.
Definitely there. And we go back to some of the drivers that had a little bit of controversy for him. First of all, Jeremy Fletcher is down with us. Started dead last, got up as high as second, and ultimately had to ride through the grass before crossing the line, P6. Let's send it on down here. We'll catch up with the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Car driver.
Started way in the back and made it up to second, but then you had an incident with Hayden Jones. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I mean, he sent it in from deep. I crossed him over, and he doesn't know how to go down a straightaway. I mean, he just turned straight into me. I didn't think, I don't know if I was going to catch Ryan, but we got to second. I was happy with my pace, but I guess the minions eat you alive.
Well, once you got settled back in after the incident, how were you able to keep cool and still make it forward?
I mean, I knew I had the pace. I mean, the car was just coming in, so I just tried to pick them off one by one, and we were there in the end. A couple guys wrecked off, and that helped us a lot.
Well, unfortunate day for Jeremy Fletcher, but you got it done for the most part, but good luck tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow's better.
Thank you, and to Allison Racing Engines, Ryan Perry Motorsports, and everyone else that helps me.
Thank you, guys. Back to the booth.
Thank you, Kendall. And again, there you can see just the frustration. I mean, it's a hot day here, Rob. You can tell Ryan was holding his stuff back a little bit, and Jeremy, I'm sure, everyone seems pretty hot and heavy right now.
The interesting thing is, you heard it from Ryan, you heard it from Jeremy. I'm sure if we went to Hayden, you'd hear exactly the same thing, right? Because the frustration there, starting on pole, getting shuffled to the back, battling himself forward, getting shuffled back again. Everybody's scrapping for every position, and I'm sure Jeremy wasn't happy with what Hayden said. I'm sure Hayden wouldn't be happy with what Jeremy did, just because they were all scrapping. There weren't many guys in the top 10 there, or top 5, top 6, that didn't have some kind of a scrap where they were going to come off here pretty pissed off, right? The bottom line is it was just everybody was going at each other left and right, unless you're Ryan Norberg, who was up the road out of the way, finally through the chaos.
Well, I think a lot of them maybe could take some advice or look at the kids that we had on screen just a moment ago fishing here at the end of the day. I think we might see Sebastian Weldon, maybe some of our other winners over there, but it'll take a minute, I'm sure, to cool everybody off after how wild that main event was. We break it down again. We look back at some of the other notes through there. Justin White picked up 13 spots. Marian Krimmers, I don't know exactly kind of what happened for him in the midfield, because for a little bit he was going through with Jeremy Fletcher. When they got to about 12th to 13th, that's when we saw Fletcher continue to go, and Marian, I don't know if he got trapped further back, if a few more drivers started to dive bomb him after Jeremy got away, but whatever it was, it ultimately ended up costing him some time, and while he did end up with the fastest lap of the race, he ends up with a 16th place result. Paulie Massimino is down with us here. He has checked out. He is okay, but a scary wreck here. Let's get his take on it. Let's see if we can send it on down here to Paulie. We'll get his take on it right there. Yeah, here we'll see if we can.
Thank you, Paulie.
There we go.
Hope you have a much better day tomorrow.
Just a little bit of an issue there with audio with the interview with Paulie, but you can see, of course, as he does, always kind of handles things with poise. Tough to see him go off like he did at the end of the corner like that, having pushing forward and trying to get the best he could in the final lap. But everything. In the end, Xander, everybody gets to press the reset button, come back and do it again tomorrow. And the key is the guys that are going to find success tomorrow are the ones that aren't going to internalize what happened today, right? You got to wipe the slate clean, come back out and do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we talked about Jeremy Fletcher, Alex Stanfield, Marion Kremers throughout the day. All three drivers fighting for championships in respective classes. K Senior for both Fletcher and for Stanfield, for Pro Shifter with Marion Kremers. And throughout the day, whenever we talked to him, whether the session was good, bad, or ugly, obviously for Marion was all good today. They stayed neutral. Yeah. You can't get too hyped up. You can't get too down. You can't get too frustrated. And that's ultimately what makes the champions champions and what makes race winners winners is when they're able to kind of block out all the noise. And no matter what the last session was, good, bad, or ugly, they can kind of reset. And again, you see that like we talked about with Norberg. In his case here, he knows that everyone's gunning for him, but he also knows that he's got a lot of pace. So if he doesn't let it rattle him, then he's going to be able to outrun a lot of those guys 99% of the time. And that's exactly what we saw today. I mean, they were trying everything they could to rattle him. Yeah. No question. I mean, then there wasn't just any specific driver. I mean, everyone I think knew, and he knew, Norberg as well, when you put a whooping on the field with that RPG 1-2-3 in the pre-final like they did with 5 to 7 seconds, and then you come back, I mean, it's to be expected a little bit for sure for it to come like that.
They're going to come back even harder at him tomorrow, and the key from what you're saying is you can't let your emotions get the best of you, especially at this level of competition. You have to be completely 100% focused. When you lose focus on anger, on revenge, whatever it may be, that's when you get off your game. And a guy like Ryan Norberg can keep the focus. Same thing with Marion Kremers, right? Keep your head down. That's what makes these guys champions as opposed to those who are battling to try to get inside the top 10.
Well, speaking of champions and battling inside the top 10, it's been a very impressive day here for Team Bennick's Frankie Mossman. He is down with Jenna Tommy. We'll send it on down and get his thoughts after what was obviously an unfortunate ending to his KA Senior race here, but hey, a lot of pace in this X30 Pro Division, and just an unfortunate, kind of not really sure exactly what happened to Fast Frankie. We'll see if we can get his thoughts on that final couple corners with Pedro Hiltbrand.
Frankie, you came through scales looking like you cut the grass. What happened?
Going through those final few corners, I mean, I was on Pedro. We had a hard-fought battle the entire time. Ran second, but going through the third to last corner, he dropped a wheel on the exit, and I tried going back down inside to avoid him, and then it just pitched back over, and then we collected. So it was just unlucky. Probably should have been more patient on my part, but I still feel that we'll have the pace tomorrow, and I mean, we showed it. It just kind of fell off towards the end.
Yeah, head up for tomorrow. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, I think Mossman's going to be in the hunt tomorrow. I really do. I think he showed speed all day long, up, down, backwards, and he had nobody out there helping him. He wasn't part of the Rawlson group. He didn't have any of his teammates. He was there all by himself. So I'm really impressed with what Frankie did today.
Me too. I think Frankie Mossman was very impressive. I think he turned a lot of heads. He texted me, Wednesday after happy hour. He's like, I think you guys slept on me when it came to the fantasy picks here for this week. And again, you can see it. So for Frankie Mossman, unfortunate, like he said, but hey, a very mature, very professional response from Fast Frankie Mossman saying, hey, you know what? I could have been more patient. That's on me. I think we got a fast piece for tomorrow. Very, very class act and a classy move from the rookie. Let's send it down from the rookie to the veteran. Austin Garrison put on a show here, tried to be as exciting as he could and do what he could. He ends up just inside the top 5.
Austin, we were just talking, and what's going on with the cart?
So we've been the past 2 weeks we've been here. It's been a up and down deal every single time we go out. Definitely got to go back to the drawing board and try to get some more pace out of the car. We definitely struggled here in the final. My first few opening laps, I was able to salvage what I can. I led for a few laps, but once it started to open up my line, I just couldn't keep up with anybody. Obviously, you want to keep blocking. You want to keep trying to move forward and try to break away from the other drivers. But besides that, I mean, that was about it.
Definitely a hard-fought battle. Do you think the team's going to be laid up tonight trying to figure something out?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to go back there. It is closer than what it was in the pre-final. I was able to hang with him a little bit better. Definitely, we're going to go back to the drawing board. Like I said, we're going to fine-tune some stuff on the chassis, and hopefully tomorrow we can go and get some more speed out of it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
You know, Xander, this is what I love about Sundays when we have doubleheaders. I do like having the single race, final where you kind of go through to the final, but I love having doubleheaders because to me, every team gets a chance to get better. Normally, the competition is a lot tighter because you expect Mike Speed and the whole crew over there, Alex Speed, they're going to sit down. They're going to figure something out for Austin Garrison, right? They're going to figure out something for everything. Everybody's going to figure something out to get a little bit tighter. Rawlson's group is going to get a bit better. So I expect even tighter racing tomorrow when we get back here.
Definitely here. And again, if the track continues to kind of change on all these guys and girls throughout the day as it did today, I think we are in for another Tuners Challenge when we come back here tomorrow for more action. Speaking of drivers here, we've just got a few more we're running through for X30 Pro post-race interviews. Hayden Jones, I'm sure, again, in the similar case to Ryan Norberg, he had to come to the field not once but twice after starting on the pole. Let's send it on down and get his thoughts.
Hayden, you got wrecked while you were battling for the lead. How are you feeling?
Pretty upset. I knew I had a lot of pace to stay with Ryan for the race. Everyone just wanted to shuffle me back, so there's really nothing I could do about that besides just making as many spots as I could.
What exactly happened?
We were going down the straight, and I'm not sure what really happened. I need to look at the video, but he ended up a little over top of me, and then we lost a bunch of spots.
What are you hoping for tomorrow?
Well, I'm hoping to give Ryan a piece of his money tomorrow and try and get on the top step of that podium.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, we need some smack talk over it.
We need something, man. They got it. They can't just be one big happy family all the time. When you guys are that far out in front, there's only one winner at the end of the day. I don't care how good of a team player you are. You still want to be the best guy out there. And Hayden Jones, good to see him wanting to have that fire.
Yeah, you got the coach, you got the captain, right? You got the leader, you got Ryan Norberg. You want to get in there and beat the big dog, right? You want to beat the establishment. We saw a really good pace out of Bonilla in that race. We saw Paul Bacuse was fast at the pre-final. He got caught up in that almost
somehow pirouette. I don't know what happened to Paul Bocuse early on, but there's a lot of stuff that we didn't know what exactly happened there in that main.
But they're all going to want to get back in there and see if they can't beat him tomorrow, and they've got good speed. Ryan, again, he's the one that's, of all the drivers the paddock can handle sometimes these really high-pressure situations. There are other guys that can do that as well. They got a great platform underneath them, but he's handling the situation well. It's his guys that are going to have to step up, and everybody else, a Mossman. Let's see if he gets back in. Hiltbrand will maybe get up here again, right? Diego Ramos showed us what he had. There's a lot of tremendous drivers that could battle Norberg tomorrow.
Well, speaking of Diego Ramos, he has, of course, crossed the line P2. Unfortunately, was not close enough to be able to get the pushback bumper to help him out, but he is down and with us here for post-race interviews. Let's send it on down.
Diego, you started P13 and you ended second. How do you feel?
I feel happy. We had the speed, but we need to find something more for tomorrow. We're gonna work all the night to be more fast tomorrow, and I would be like say thank for my team, for ADO engines and everybody. Yes.
Who do you think your biggest competitor is? Who are you fighting with the most?
In the race with everybody, but tomorrow I will try Cat Norberg. Yeah, this is the point.
Great. Thank you, Diego.
Thank you.
Yeah, obviously Diego Ramos, same boat as Austin Garrison, right? Like I think they, could find maybe another 10th or two. For Ramos, to me, I was impressed that he was able to hang up there because it looked early on as soon as probably Fletcher and Frankie Mossman got to him, I thought those guys were going to get away.
I did too.
And very quickly Ramos was able to kind of hang with them. And then obviously he had to be really aggressive. We saw those passes not once but twice he attempted on Frankie from like 2 car lengths back. So, he had a lot of guts and then played that one smart and then obviously got himself hardware out of it. Second for him, third for Jones across the line. Norberg able to outrun his penalty. I think the last guy we were hoping to maybe get a word with is Pedro Hiltbrand to get his take on what went down with him on the final lap. I don't know if we have him over at post-race interviews just yet, but nonetheless, going through the rest of it here. Unfortunately, we did have, of course, a couple DNFs. We saw John Burke off on the side of the racetrack about midway through. Jacob Hoover and Paulie Massimino, Donovan Bonilla, all of them out. Bonilla was out on that last lap deal as well. So I think it was Bonilla, Mossman, and Hiltbrand that kind of all came together, if I'm not mistaken. But it was definitely up and down. Actually, I think it might have been Bonilla and Massimino coming together. So either way, Hiltbrand all the way down 25th for what would have been a good podium result here. And again, Ed Ports, just snuck in there, really. I mean, snuck into 4th overall. Super, super impressive for a kid who he ran the test last weekend.
Yep.
That's about it. I joked with him and his dad. They're like, he shook a little bit of rust off, still got some there. Hey, that's a good run. Top 5.
Yeah, anywhere in the top 10 I think would have been great for Edward there, obviously with the time he's had on the racetrack. So for him to be able to finish up where he is with some of the chaos coming into P4, other than that, he would have been, 6th or 7th. I got to think he'd be thrilled with that. And again, went racing. He's going to be better tomorrow. All these guys are going to be better tomorrow who haven't had a chance to have a lot of seat time recently.
Well, they got some time here. They can go fishing like the rest of the kids over here at the Long Pond straightaway on the outside. For Rob Howden, myself, Xander Clements, the Kart Chasers, Superkarts USA, and Newcastle Motorsports Park, hard-working teams. It's been a hot but awesome day of racing. No red flags, no ambulance rolling, and we get to run it all the way back again tomorrow. Championship Sunday. We couldn't be more excited. We will see you guys bright and early at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.